silver lining. Also starting off on the T side here, so maybe more of a chance to warm up into this map than what they had on the CT side. But already, OpTic trying to put the pressure on, playing aggressively into mid. That's been shut down, though, by NIP. A much better start to this map than what we saw on Mirage.
Those mid-aggression on the CT side on Pisteron is always such a tenuous affair. Even if you get that opening kill, as we saw, it can fall apart so easy if you don't have a plan afterwards. Nicely done from Get Right and Rez to handle the danger, and now they just slow things down. Dennis is going to go back towards T-spawn. He wants to come up T-ramp and clear out any aggression that's in mid. Want to make sure they're not getting flanked out. That's going to put some pressure on Yugi, but he definitely hears these footsteps. Yeah. Dennis is going to need some help.
Yugi's in a very interesting position here. If he finds a kill, he's really going to be able to lock down the map, and he actually does manage to get that kill onto Dennis. Now NIP have some thinking to do. They will challenge into mid again, and Yugi, well, he gets a lot of damage, not quite able to get the frag across there, but might have done enough, actually, as OpTic still in the 2v1 here, but it's a doable 2v1.
It's just so tough for OpTic. Like, what do you choose to do from here? Cajun can either rotate towards the A bomb site or get aggressive, which is what he's choosing to do. So he's helping to shrink the map, but that puts a lot of pressure on Config. There's no real good answer to get these two players in the same spot to defend against this hit. So Config, as you said, Get Right with low HP. He's going to go out first. So an easy kill for Config. The follow-up would be great, and he's able to isolate these one-on-ones very well, buying time for Cajun to come in and maybe even just ending the round on his own, but it's Cajun from behind. But Config is the star in that 2 versus 3.
Yeah, well, he more or less really did shut that round down on his own. Obviously, Cajun was in there for the final blow, but that was all on the back of Config. Great work in pit and OpTic. They come away with what was, I would say, a streaky pistol round there. It was kind of backwards and forwards, but some good work towards the end. And again, good signs for OpTic Gaming. I mean, they looked really good on Mirage, and NIP having dropped the pistol round there despite having an advantage. This is a decent start to the map for OpTic, and NIP, you mentioned earlier, this could be their last map here.
This is all 3 pistol rounds in this series won by OpTic Gaming so far. That's something NIP's going to look at if they end up losing this series and kind of shaking their head at. They'll have to work on it. Jade going to be spamming through with a UMP. Not too much damage dealt. Drake, it might have even been the Flames that does the damage to him, but he's going to start pushing up. And again, aggression down Banana. Snappy is down at the base behind the smoke. Allows Config to cheat over towards that A bomb site. This can't last for too long. When that smoke clears, though, Snappy's got nothing, and he'll either have to fall back or just kind of risk the aggressive nature.
At the moment, it looks like he wants to risk it. And I don't think that's necessarily a terrible decision here, really. We saw him do a lot of work on Mirage.
It just forces Config to rotate back over towards the B bomb site.
Now his position's given away as well, and he's very, very isolated. NIP can spring onto this, but the flashbang is in there from Config, and that's going to buy a little bit more time, allows him to finally get back in time. And, well, this really could go either way, but NIP, they eventually do get the better of Snappy. Config just milling around backwards and forwards, not able to give any backup there. And NIP now with the advantage that the rotation does come across from Cajun B, and he will be able to find a frag. That stabilizes things a little bit here for OpTic, and a great shot hit by Config. NIP, they're just not being decisive enough on this B bomb site. They've allowed OpTic to dictate how this round plays out. The bomb will go down, but in a 1 versus 3, Rez is going to need a miracle.
It almost feels unwinnable for him, but again, with that plant, they've got decent damage with 2 players down. Anything that Rez gets here is great. If he can win it, it'd be miraculous, but 1 to 2 more kills, and this is all of a sudden a very big success for NIP.
So, we'll see what Rez has for us. We've seen some good clutches from him already on Overpass. Here's another one presented quite early in map 2. The spray down, not quite there, but it almost got set up for him.
One of those situations where he's just like, man, if I only had an AK-47, the Galil just not doing enough damage. And, I mean, he did miss a couple initial shots, but still had a chance to recover. 2-0 for OpTic. Not a bad round from NIP. They've got decent money built up after that plant. SMG's out for OpTic Gaming. It looks like you imagine Yugi and Snappy going to be relatively aggressive again, but you can see the danger. That decision that Snappy has to make when that smoke clears is so important. Even just sticking around when they know he's there, they're just biding their time, and they know he's got to use ammo to keep them at the space. Config had an awkward peek at the top of Banana that he had to fall back from because NIPR had already had the angle, and that really, really left Snappy in a difficult spot. Nade stack down mid doesn't yield results. So NIP is going to be able to go into the mid-round taking minimal damage.
Yeah, well, getting tagged a little bit down by the spam here from OpTic. I'm a fan of the nade stack, actually, on Inferno. I think it's quite a fun little strategy. Never really works, though, but it's always nice to see.
You never know when you're going to catch a team out, just kind of letting their focus slip and maybe getting towards the top of T-ramp too early. Now in the choke point, the nades have all been used, so these deagles are posted up quite nicely. Players of OpTic on either side. Missed shot from Dennis. Nicely done from Cajun B. He does eventually fall. They'll want to salvage that M4, but Yugi's not in a whole lot of trouble as he falls away.
Yeah, so slowing things down now in IP. The smoke comes out.
Draken actually gets a kill over towards Banana. Snappy once again. I think that might have been through smoke.
Could have been. Draken still looking for another player there in Banana. I'm not sure that he actually knows Config is there, but this is still sort of hanging in the balance. Gade might just be able to shut things down there as he does get the kill on to Get Right. Had he dropped, it was going to start to look a bit more favorable for NIP, but right now with the player advantage and having floated the player across the A bomb site, it's looking pretty confident here now for the CT side. Forrest just waiting to see if he's going to be able to find a cheeky kill there, but now that his position is known, wouldn't expect anyone from OpTic to be crossing that line. And Drake can spot it out as well without getting the kill onto Gade. So, time is ticking away right now, and NIP need to make their move into this bomb site if they're going to make anything happen. It's just Forrest left alive with 12 HP, and, well, it would have been a tough shot to hit, but that was the only way that he was going to win that round, was if he hits that shot onto Yugi. In the end, he's run out of time, and OpTic close out 3.
And phenomenal damage done by NIP, though. This time, they don't even really invest in the armor. They just have the Deagle, some CZ, so they force a lot of rebuys. So we're not going to see that monstrosity of an economy building for the OpTic side the way we did on Mirage. Early on, they're going to be kind of backs against the wall. It's not fully a reset territory, as Config has some built up from saving that Galil, and Yugi still has some left over, so does Cajun. But not ideal for the defensive side of things. NIP, 5 AK-47s, full kits of utility as well. We'll see if they prefer an AWP later on into this half. I don't know if they will. But Yugi at the moment has the aggressive stance, forced back by the Flames. So contesting for Banana early on.
Yeah, Config just ready with a flashbang by the looks of things as well to get Yugi out of here, but he's really under pressure right now. NIP not continuing the push on forward, and Yugi will be able to fall back behind the smoke. It was a little bit of a risky business for a moment there, but NIP now have got control of Banana, methodically working their way through the map control.
First stage is complete for NIP. Rez and Forrest, firm control of Banana. That's going to keep 2 players at this B bomb site, Config and Snappy. Yugi with that AWP has rotated back towards Library, towards that A bomb site. Config with a flash peek, sees nobody, doesn't get a whole lot of information, nothing that allows him to cheat over towards the A bomb site. And here's mid control for NIP now as they handle brackets with the smoke towards the left side.
Starting to look pretty good actually for NIP. Now they've forced both sites back into their respective sites. Now making their way over toward the B bomb side. A lot of utility still available here for NIP. That's going to be going straight into the B side. An incendiary down for OpTic to slow the progression of the T side, but still they're going to have to make something happen with these rifles, and it's a 1-for-1 trade. Not too bad just yet for NIP, and Snappy, with only the SMG, doesn't have the firepower to really cause any kind of a resistance. All under Yugi here, and actually misses that shot. It looked like I thought he hit it. But in the end, 3 versus 4 for the retake on the B bomb side. I'm not sure about you, but I don't fancy the chances here.
Well, they should be calling a save, and I think they are going to. They don't even progress forward past the fence. So yeah, they bail out. That's a good call. OpTic going for a conservative style to preserve the money that they do have. Not really a great chance of them getting back into this bomb site, even with 2 kits. They just don't want to risk the AWP. That's a very nice take from NIP. These 3 players were stuck at the A bomb site for some extra time. Yugi was the rotator in Library with that AWP, and even he doesn't get over very in any kind of timing to kind of help defend against that hit, mostly because Draken was left in middle. He was lurking. He made his presence known, and it kind of froze those rotations. So job done for him, even without a kill. This bomb's going to explode to give NIP their first round.
Yeah, still though for OpTic, it is just 1 round, and they are going to be able to get the buy through here again in this one. Someone's going to be running away with a UMP or something like that. For Mas, that'll do, I suppose.
I think the next time we see a round like that played out from NIP, you're going to see OpTic get aggressive towards brackets and try and clear Draken out of that position, because it looked like Gade was actually moving into his position to kind of do exactly that with 1 pop flash from a teammate from Pit, but he actually called it off at the last second, which allowed Draken to be effective. But if they go and clear that out early, they don't have to worry about that lurker at brackets.
Oh, well, another round presents itself. NIP this time not quite as easily able to get control of Banana, though they're still challenging for it. Get Right's very quick up into the apartments as well. No one there at the moment for OpTic. But if they push in, it looks like they might actually want to do. Could be problems. Still, the first kill goes the way of OpTic, and they're really not too keen to relinquish pressure on that Banana.
3 players at Banana for OpTic early on to net them that 1 kill and a tag onto Forrest down to 18 HP. NIP Only 3 players really healthy enough to take fights, and they're going to have a very staunch defense. They have no control of Banana this round, so they're kind of resigned towards this hit over at A, or at least to probe it initially. See if they can get anything. Gate over in Graveyard. Cajun waiting to come through the smoke, and he's going to pounce just now. He gets 1 kill out of it, and there goes Forrest. He's cleaned up, and now they have to enter in a 2 versus 5 scenario, and they are just getting demolished at this A bomb site. A great defensive hold from OpTic.
Yeah, awesome work. I mean, they get control of the map. They really choke NIP into that A bomb site, and then Cajun gets the perfect timing through the smoke, all but shutting the round down. Not to mention, obviously, the kill that Gade got, and the NIP, they just didn't look like they had anything in that round. And now they have nothing in this one because the money is sort of 50-50. They will actually decide to buy into it, but it's going to be sort of 3 AKs, 2 CZs, not really where you want to be for NIP. Workable at least, but OpTic are off on the right foot here on Inferno.
It's clear that they want to establish Banana control, and they'll likely go back to it. Snappy and Config get a push out again. Flashbang from Cajun. Config, though, Molotov going to force him away from taking the deep angle. Smokes down towards the base of Banana, and they're just actually going to relinquish that control for free this round. They don't want to play with it whatsoever. So a new look for NIP to have to work around. Imagine that third player is going to cheat back, but a lot of pressure going to be applied out of these A-holes. Gade defending in the pit.
Well, the timing right now for OpTic is pretty critical. They've still got those 3 players over to B, but Yugi opening things up with the AWP, but Gade also spots out Get Right. That's all gone wrong for NIP. If they would have busted out onto that site with 5, there was just 2 players defending it, but now the control of the game is again in the hands of OpTic.
NIP get to the end of those halls, and it's not a bad idea. You kind of position yourself 1 player to pick off towards small pit. If it's an unsuspecting AWPer rotating back in towards the bomb site, 1 maybe hoping that the pit player loses their focus. Get Right hoping that he peers his head up and he's able to get an easy shot. Obviously doesn't work that way. Smoke over towards the B bomb site. 2 defenders here, but I think Forrest is going to be the one that they want to kind of initiate the action. 1 kill to rotate 1 player from this B bomb site, and he's going to be neutralized with the smoke.
Yeah, well, Forrest is still keeping 3 players over on this A bomb site right now, and Yugi, the timing doesn't really work in his favor, as this has allowed Forrest out through Diggity. Gade might be the key here. If he goes down, actually, and those 2 players enter the B site quite safely for NIP, there could still be a chance for NIP, but Cajun getting a lot of information right now, and Forrest, his time is running out. He's gone, and it's just relying now on the 2. Config hits a good shot. Snappy's there for the crossfire, and it works out much better for OpTic than I theorized it might for NIP. In the end, though, a great round for the CTs.
It's so difficult for Forrest to make any kind of a angles to watch, and he had to be aggressive with the time running out under 20 seconds when he was forced to make his move. He was hoping for a mistake from the OpTic side, but they could play it so patiently because Cajun, again, he's being aggressive on that wrap side. He's not allowing anyone to be comfortable and brackets in towards lane, so he flanks her out, really forces the hand of those B defenders, and great awareness from Yugi to check that angle as he rotates back. Get right going for the punish, and Gade's able to get an easy one in the side of his head. 5-1, and a good timeout to take as NIP. They cannot afford to have an atrocious offensive side here. They need to get numbers up on the board.
Yeah, there's quite a bit to chat about actually for NIP, because across the board, OpTic have looked really good, both on the A bomb side and the B bomb side. They've both really been a stronghold right now for OpTic, and NIP have really struggled to get into both of them. I think they've only gotten one bomb down. And 2 bombs down.
The good work that they did early on in the second and third round to get some kills to kind of limit the money. And there's a TK. That's not anything you want to see. There was a TK as well. I think it was actually Draken onto Forest on Mirage. So maybe just returning the favor.
Cajun and Snappy getting a little bit aggressive there and almost punished for it. But in the end, there's just too many numbers for OpTic Gaming. And, well, NIP not going to get anything out of this round.
No, they are not. It's going to be a 3-round losing bonus. NIP will be able to buy off that. Still won't be able to have the AWP, but it's starting to get worrying for the Swedish side. 6-1. OpTic building a huge lead, building a huge bank as well. That double op setup again is just wreaking havoc on NIP.
Yeah, we saw it on Mirage, seeing it now on Inferno, and to be fair, I mean, I wouldn't have said Inferno is going to be as conducive to the double AWP as a map like Mirage would be, but OpTic are really finding a way to make it work. Yugi being very mobile from the A bomb side, all around, all angles on the A side, and just Config being able to lock down Banana. NIP need to find a way to deal with this, and their time is running out. That's 6-1 right now for OpTic. I mean, yes, there's time left in the half, but you don't want to be letting OpTic get off to a big start like this, particularly when you're a map down.
Oh, this is great from Yugi. Will he find a pick? How long will they hold this? Oh, he gets the tag on a Draken out of 38 before he even progresses across the map. It's pretty telling the only round that NIP has won in this half so far is the one where they got banana control. They actually fought for it. They did have it later on when OpTic gave it up and played more passively, and that's when the ops kind of came out. And again, another boost coming in over towards Logs. Forrest being very cautious and just going to take a flick and fall away. A lot of utility being spent by NIP, utility they don't necessarily have, and again, these ops are going to start doing work as Forrest dry peaks, tries to bait out a shot, but Config's not falling for it. And again, a 5-on-3 for OpTic as NIP can't get any success early in the rounds.
Yeah, there's action on both sides of the map right now. Obviously, that fight over Banana, but while that's going on, OpTic decide to play aggressively into apartments, and Cajun catches off NIP. So, on both sides of the map, again, I have to say, OpTic are winning, and there's no opening at all for NIP. They need to figure something out. They used a lot of utility, like you said, to try and get control of Banana, which now means they've just got a smoke and a flashbang to work with here late in the round. Try and make their way into the A bomb site with a 2-man disadvantage. Seems impossible right now, and Gade is going to get good timing, finds the 1 kill onto Rez, which is more than enough right now for OpTic. And it just becomes a case of closing the round out now on the CT side and making sure they don't lose too many guns. A good, straightforward kill for Yugi. Easy done for him. And Snappy getting all that information in mid. They know exactly where Draken is.
NIP needs to go away from this kind of spread out the theoretical attack onto Inferno, trying to get map control, trying to kind of slowly progress into a bomb site. They need to just stay grouped. They need to get into a bomb site, make an execute, make some kind of a timing contact play, maybe towards that A bomb site, so you don't have that long route of Banana to kind of battle against all the utility. But get into a site, force these double ops, force one of the ops into a retake scenario. Just play the trade game and execute onto the A bomb site, I think, is going to be the answer that we'll see maybe work out for NIP, but certainly something they have to try at some point. They're just losing far too many players before executing what they want.
Well, probably not this round, as it's just going to be the pistols out for NIP. OpTic looking very, very good here on Inferno. Definitely did not expect this earlier on this morning. We were talking about how NIP were probably the favorites. Well, now it's looking like OpTic are really poised to actually knock NIP out. That'd be pretty shocking. Right now, though, NIP, they still got time to play with, but it is running out. Setting themselves up for a little something over on the A-bomb site. The flashbang goes across from Dennis. It allows Get Right out into brackets. Past that, no control of the map for NIP.
One smoke, one flashbang for the Ninjas. Where does Get Right want to place his? It looks like they almost wanted to wrap out towards long, go right against that AWP. The smoke is going to go down. That's what it's designed to do. Maybe a B split coming in. The problem is Rez would be all alone with that bomb. Yugi's blocked off. Snappy Peering back towards CT spawn just to make sure that ramp is not going to be too effective. That's exactly what's coming through and right through the smoke. It just keeps getting worse for NIP. Forrest going to try and cheat through, and he has made the progress, but Cajun B watching his back. Yugi goes down, run and gun from Get Right, and the bomb is sneaking around to this A bomb site. But he's got 2 M4s to deal with, and Gade is going to lock things down. Great shot from Get Right, but so much more to do, and Cajun does not let him recover.
As soon as that bomb goes down for NIP, you feel as though the round is almost over, but then Gade doubles up, and that essentially puts the nail in the coffin for NIP, and that one wasn't necessarily a terrible strategy from NIP. You could see what they were trying to go for there. It's just in the end, OpTic had enough players and enough skill to deal with it. NIP now, though, with the buy through.
And there's 2 things they could have done. They could have condensed and done just an execute onto an A bomb site or on one of the bomb sites like I just mentioned the previous round, or they give Draken a chance to challenge against these ops. This is the first time he's had this weapon in his hands in this half. We'll see what he's got. He's really got to neutralize. Yugi going to go aggressive, feeling confident. Molotov forces him away. Draken looking for a mid pick that doesn't come. They've already used that boost, so OpTic not going to go back to it this quickly. And how do you get the Opera in position? We know it's difficult to wield on the T side, and actually OpTic have a great read on this scenario. 3 players cheated over towards that B bomb site.
Yeah. As soon as NIP do get control of Banana, OpTic are very well aware of what's going on, and we spoke about how that one round for NIP was the round that they did get control of Banana. Well, they've done that again. And the win condition, I suppose, is to get that, but even past it, still there's a lot of work to be done as OpTic set themselves up very, very nicely. They've still got a lot of information. They're playing quite forward on the A bomb site. They're not hidden in the site itself. So they know what's going on right now. And Gade, he almost looks like he wants to rotate across right now as we see a lot of utility coming into the B side here for NIP. But 3 to deal with, and Config opening things up. Cajun, not checked, will find a double kill. This is all falling apart right now for NIP. They're trying to get into either side, and neither is being given an option as OpTic just completely decimate them on that B site.
That third player was huge, quite obviously. Snappy with the kill, Cajun with 2 boosted up, but it was the counter utility coming out from OpTic. As soon as NIP tries to execute onto that B bomb site, Flashbang's Molotov goes down to delay. That means that NIP has to re-smoke towards CT spawn. That's the only one they had. The one towards Coffins was clearing out. The flashbangs they threw were not effective because they were delayed for so long after throwing them. Just the 1 kill from Config with that AWP inside the bomb site allows Cajun to get that double kill. NIP another timeout as they are stumped and they are on the verge of getting just deleted out of this tournament.
Yeah, this is crazy compared to what we saw yesterday where NIP really showed a lot of fight against SK. It was backwards and forwards for the entirety of the map, but right now they're just being completely steamrolled, and it's not really down to the economic game like it was on Mirage. We've seen a lot of gun rounds out from NIP. It's just they've just not been able to get into either of the sites, and they've not been even able to do anything against OpTic. Look at how much money OpTic has got right now. They're just having no problems across the board.
Yeah, their bank has hit a critical mass on that defensive side. Yugi with 13,000. You got Config with 10,000. Everyone else has at least 1 buy behind them no matter what. So there's just so much money that NIP, and when you struggle to get even a second round on the board, how are you going to win 2 or 3 in a row to take the economy away? There's a good start. OpTic didn't necessarily need to take that risk. They switched things up, allow Yugi to get aggressive through a smoke, no less.
Yeah, Yugi just trying to push the issue there, which I think is fair enough when you're up 9-1, really try and stamp your mark on the match. If you do end up losing this round as a result, there's still heaps of cash for OpTic to play with, but maybe that's the little needle in the haystack that NIP need to get their way back into this map. Let's see what they can do. Gade almost shuts down 2, but he has to fall off into pit, and he still has more ahead of him. Actually finds the second kill before going down. It's not going to be enough, though, as Forrest cleans up 2 for himself, and NIP will get the bomb down. Config has been so solid with that AWP so far, but in a 1 versus 3, probably better off just to save it.
We're going to have that conversation till the end of time. Don't fix what isn't broken. I mean, look at the amount of kills on the NIP side. It doesn't even feel that strong. They're not even having impact individually. If Yugi's going to give one away like that, NIP can take advantage of it. As much as they struggled in the 5 versus 5, you give them that man advantage and they just blow up out onto that A bomb site and trade 1 kill on Gade in the pit. He even gets a double kill and they still can't manage it. Forrest takes a couple duels in the open, which he loves. Config, yeah, there's a lot of money. You don't need to be going for this. No scope right to the chest of Forrest. Goes for the follow-up. Draken cannot lose this. This actually isn't bad whatsoever from Config. He's going to cause both of them to blow up, or at least one. Draken goes down. Rez, is he going to go for that AWP? Do they want it that badly? And they do, but he's not going to have the time. That's a huge play from Config.
Yeah, actually no AWP going to be able to be purchased here for NIP. So a lot of damage done there. And OpTic, of course, they have heaps of cash. The double AWP is going to come straight back out, even though they lost all 5 of their players. even enough money to fight through in the next round as well here for OpTic if things don't go incredibly poorly. So it's still a tough ask here for NIP. Down 9-2. If they get reset here, you can think about how big the rest of this half is going to be for OpTic. I mean, they're poised to get 11, 12 rounds.
And we'll see. They have to stop NIP from building upon this. Yes, the economy is strong, but you never know what one round win can ignite. NIP still have a chance to get up towards 5. If they're really fortunate, they get up towards 6, and all of a sudden that's a solid T-half. After such a long period of dominance, if you're an OpTic fan, you're just hoping it doesn't slip away off the back of that one loss. You're also praying that Yugi doesn't make any more plays through the smoke. We'll see. Gade and Yugi going to be on that side. They're going to go for another boost down towards mid. Draken's here. No AWPs. Just got to try and spot it out. And there's the kill. Headshot onto Draken. Yugi's down to low HP, but Get Right lurking out with the UMP. He does it again. The speed, the pace. That's going to secure the round. These 3 players from OpTic just have to save, and Dennis is already on the hunt.
OpTic had absolutely no idea there, and Config, well, he's still a little bit interested, but this is going to be his undoing. Dennis round the back, and that's exactly what Get Right did as well. So NIP, well, being a little bit sneaky there. I don't even know if it was necessarily too sneaky. I think Get Right was just charging on through the apartments there, but no one had any idea, and so...
It's probably also relatively calculated of NIP, and especially Get Right, a guy who's known to have a very good read of the game and a very good understanding and also great memory building through one half. Is they've seen multiple times OpTic having this presence, 3 players at the B bomb site very early on. So Get Right's pushing in towards halls, and when that boost comes in to kill Draken, who calls it out, he picks up the pace and he gets out of those halls before that OpTic can fall back, before those 2 players, I think it was, what, Yugi and Gade, before they could fall back and really situate themselves in a defensive stance in pit and in the A bomb site, and really just secures the round for his team with those 2 kills.
Snappy's going to grab the AWP here as well as soon as that bomb goes off, and that will allow the double AWP to come through again for OpTic. A lot of money still there for Cajun, but 9-3. NIP have been given an opening. The door has just creaked a little bit ajar here for them. This Get Right. What a monster. Just flying out from the balcony.
This is NIP's last time out of the half. They've used all 4 here trying to recover from just a terrible start on this T side, and it makes sense. It's actually critically important because despite everything, they've given themselves a window of opportunity. They found a couple answers. They were given a gift by Yugi in one round. Get Right makes a massive play in the next one. If they want to stay alive in this map, they need to continue this kind of success, build upon it. If they get up towards that 5 or 6, they're going to be feeling so good about this half despite everything.
Yeah.
So it makes a lot of sense for them to have used all their timeouts and really kind of depleted them for the second half and overtime, but you need to at least give yourself the opportunity.
It's first half now, kind of at the tipping point where OpTic, if they end up winning this round or the next couple, it's really where we sort of expect it to be. But NIP, they still have, like you've said, that chance to come back into the half and come back into the map. Double nade out from OpTic. That does a lot of damage over to Draken, and Yugi changing his position up. Whoa! Oh my god! Oh, jeez.
What is that?
I've never seen that before.
I'm hoping it was his plan to stop on the top of that half wall, because that is incredible. I don't think Rez even knows what hit him. A really nice find. The Danish teams love innovating, and that is a cool way to run boost.
Oh, well, I'd love to see a little bit more of that. That could be like that's the next step up for Counter-Strike. You see some crazy stuff like that more and more often. In the end, I don't know if it's going to be enough, though. OpTic, they've still lost control of Banana, and being forced back into the B bomb site is Yugi, taking an aggressive line. He'll be shut down, and for all the heroics, for all the fun, the Superman action, OpTic look to be bowing out of this round regardless.
Get Right. Just the typical lurk out of him. Exactly how he's built his career. 2 kills over towards that A bomb site. While the action happens towards B, and Snappy's got to give it up again. Very cool run boost, but unfortunately does not yield a win. Forrest gets the rebuttal. 2 kills of his own to enter into that B bomb site to really even the scores, and it's got to be 9-4. NIP, they were looking down and out of this fight, but they've won 3 in a row with 3 bomb plants. They've been finding their way into the bomb site recently.
Yeah, this puts OpTic in a really weird position as well, economically speaking. They could buy through into the next round. It's not going to be a perfect buy, but that could ruin their economy for the rest of the half. So some decisions to be made here for OpTic, and still the possibility for them to close this half out with a really strong scoreline. But if they only manage that 9, they'll be feeling a little bit disappointed. And let's have a look at this again. Why not?
Yeah, he definitely meant to land up there.
Like, what is going on here?
Oh, that's gorgeous. Well, the money that was looking so strong for OpTic is pretty much all gone. Config and Yugi down at around 200, Snappy even less than that. It's not looking great. OpTic has got to feel that sinking feeling in the pit of their stomach. Nice opening from Draken, and the response from Yugi towards those halls. The equalizer on to Get Right, so a 4-on-4 situation.
Just the one player, though, over on the B-bomb site right now, and Config under so much pressure. He gets the incendiary down, but I'm not sure that's going to help him out too much. The flashbang in. He needs to find at least a frag here, but he can't manage it. Dennis will survive by the skin of his teeth, but that's more than enough. NIP now with control of the B-bomb site. OpTic, a player disadvantage. Admittedly, a lot of utility to work with here for OpTic, but they just can't afford to go for a retake with their economy like this.
Oh, you want to have one last buy if you're OpTic. You want to keep these guns alive. Remember, because of the money that they built up in that 6-round streak, they've never had to save in this game. So giving up this round here, once again, they're going to have a pretty strong buy in the next. The FAMAS, the AWP, the M4 probably drop maybe a UMP, maybe another FAMAS on the board, but still, they've never had to go back towards the pistols, and it's a testament to NIP, the experience of these players being able to grind this out in such a losing effort, down 1-9 at one point, now winning 4 in a row to breathe some life back into this map.
I feel as though it has been brought back from the dead for NIP. Even 5, it's better than what we would have expected out of them, 10 minutes ago, I would even say. So there's a possibility that they can come back into this one. We saw them come back from a deficit against SK yesterday.
Yuki's taken that peak a couple times. I think that's the 3rd time he's done it, and it finally nets himself a kill with it. And yeah, a solid buy, even better than I expected it to be, as the losing bonus built up really, really nicely. 3 M4s, they have full utility, full kits. So OpTic has had a great half in terms of having enough money to give themselves chances. Yugi standing in the flames, trying to get just one shot, and he's going to pay for it with about 40% of his HP. A follow-up smoke and nade as well. Almost takes his life, just barely able to get out. And this is an NIP that now has the nades and utilities to mitigate the damage from those ops, not letting them find those opening picks, not letting them find success early on any longer.
Bit of aggression, though, into apartments from OpTic, and that has netted them quite a few results throughout this half when it's been the AWP of Yugi we saw last round. I think that, like you said, was the first time that it worked out for him, but more so I'm talking about the rifles. When they've sent the riflers into apartments, they typically have been able to find an opening pick for the CT side, but NIP not walking into that trap at this point. More interested in mid.
If they end up going mid as well, 2 players in these halls. Get Right. Is he going to be aware of this? He's going to read this. He peeks it, and yes, he stays on top of it, stays focused. Cajun's going to follow up. The nade is out, but Get Right can't recover in time, and I think NIP just has to let Cajun be fall back. A well-earned equalizer from OpTic.
Well, Cajun be narrowly avoiding the AWP, the sightline of Draken, but smartly into the pit now and establishing a good crossfire on that A side as NIP start to progress here with 30 seconds on the clock. OpTic need to start thinking about floating one of those B players across. 2 players to try and hold the A-bomb site. The odds are not so amazing right now for OpTic. They absolutely need those opening picks, and Cajun, he knows that there's someone coming for him. Snappy, he'll spot the first player out, and that's the bomb. So the rotation in now for OpTic Gaming should be coming across. Not enough done, though, by the A holders. And it's a 2 versus 3. NIP will get the bomb down. You get quickly into library, but has to slow down here, and doesn't look like he's going to be able to find a pick. In fact, he himself will be picked.
Desperation for Config, 1 versus 3. You got to go for this one, but Draken's going to seal it. A double kill to end. what a recovery from NIP. They looked down and out at 1-9, and they win 5 in a row to end this half to bring themselves up towards 6, and now they have a real fighting chance into this game, and you want to go back to it. That was a dominant OpTic defense up until the point Yugi makes that aggressive play through the smoke and mid, gets picked off, gives NIP a 5-on-4 that they can't take advantage of, and they run the tables to end the half.
OpTic Gaming would have been hoping for a little bit more, but we're sitting at the same point that we were after the first half of Mirage, where we were talking about NIP still having a chance. In the end, they didn't end up really doing a whole lot there on Mirage, and it even still could be the same case here for OpTic. If they win that pistol round, which they've been very good at doing so in this match so far, NIP again are going to have to try and claw their way back in.
And if you're just looking at these kill counts on the NIP side, you're probably scratching your head wondering how they got 6 kills. They've only got 1 player in double digits, and that's Get Right at 10. I mean, a lot of those rounds that they won, probably 3 of the rounds that NIP was able to win, OpTic makes the smart and wise decision to preserve the economy of saving 2 or 3 players alive into the next round. So NIP just didn't have as many kills as they would have liked to get on the board. But that's the crazy thing, is OpTic never once, they win the pistol round, they never had to save throughout that half. They had so much money built up that even during that 5-round streak, OpTic was able to keep them coffers flowing and refilling with that losing bonus. A really nicely done defensive half from them, but still, I mean, to only get away with 9 after such a dominant performance has got to be scary. Forrest gets caught out in the open. Dennis gonna go back, take a couple shots, try and find the evening kill, but it's not gonna happen.
Response from NIP as they push down Banana, and the shooting gallery will present itself once again. OpTic, they just smash away with those B defenders, and this looks like it's going to be 4 from 4 for OpTic, 100% conversion rate on the pistols. When you really add them up, that's quite a lot of free rounds.
Yeah, this has been great from OpTic on the pistols, and even Config looking like he's going to build. He has the angle, Get Right jumping out, not able to find that kill, and that's awkward.
That's never fun, is it, when you run out of ammo and then...
Even Config's laughing. He's just like, yeah, whatever.
I mean, it wouldn't have made much of a difference regardless, but yeah, it's not good. Anyway, up to 10 for OpTic, and they'll have the buy through here. NIP looks like the force is coming through. They did win a force buy on Mirage on their second round pistol.
This has been tough, you're right. I mean, all these pistols, this has just been a deep hole that NIP's had to climb out of every single map. They've been playing from behind the majority of both of these games. Here comes OpTic, slowly working the way up mid. Snappy and Yugi want to get involved in the action pretty early on. They want to make sure, force some of those smokes out if they have it. Snappy's going to be aggressive, loses that to Draken with the 5-7. Don't see that too frequently, and still the smokes are held on to from NIP.
Yeah, so OpTic now with the player disadvantage, some thinking to do. Don't want to be losing the next player otherwise, then things might start to go a little bit bottoms up, but can easily be stabilized by OpTic here. Draken, though, with that 5-7, can't get anything done this time, at least he's forced back. NIP playing this one quite nicely, really making OpTic try and figure out where they're holding from. They're not giving away any free kills, which is really good to see, and they're putting a lot of pressure on OpTic right now. It's a 1-for-1 trade. Still player advantage here for NIP, and Get Right gets himself another one. Oh, it's all going bottoms up. OpTic have got 2 players left alive versus 4, and Get Right watching the perfect angle, gets a big chunk of damage over to Config. Will go down, but even still, you'll be happy with that if you're NIP.
OpTic has no idea that the B defense is evacuated and gone over towards this A bomb site, so they're going to slow play this in library. They don't want to work their way over towards that bomb site. It's going to leave Forrest all alone in pit. CZ, 25 HP. How does he peek up? Can't get the dink. There's the kill, and actually, again, NIP just rotated out of position. Yeah. Dennis and Rez both over in Banana. And that's going to give the plant over, and now OpTic can somehow recover from this round. It looked like it was going to be a disaster.
That was a really important passage of play for NIP. If they would have kept those players, or at least even another player on the A site, would have had a bit of a better time, but still possible for NIP to make something happen here. Dennis charges and gets the full HP player on gate, and, well, Rez is there for the trade. So, a very nicely executed retake by NIP. They just do it perfectly, and OpTic, they drop another round on the anti-force.
Well done from NIP, really holding on to that wrap side as OpTic kind of slowly works their way up 1 by 1, and maybe even in team of 2 towards the end. And finally some smiles coming out of the NIP side of things. You see Drake in there with a little bit of a grin. Not out of it just yet. Another purchase coming in from OpTic. 2 AKs, a Galil, some Deagles. So investing right back into things. Yugi gets so blind by Get Right, he's actually spraying into the ground. Nice use of utility from the NIP side. They've got a lot of rifles, 2 SMGs to play with. They're going to have to fight for this round, though.
Yeah, this is going to be a bit of an interesting one, isn't it? Let's see what these guys on OpTic can do.
It's going to have to be straight heads-up fight at some point for OpTic. They're going to rely on Config to take a duel, and actually he wins that initial one. Rez slowly coming around the corner, not expecting the AK-47 perhaps, but that's a good find because there's not a lot of nades left on OpTic's side to really work with. You can't do a whole lot tactical. You're going to have to trust in your stars to find you some kind of an opening, and Config has done just that.
Good work from Config, and he chucks the AK over to one of his teammates as well. Knows that he's down quite low. Actually, in the end, does get the AK back. Not sure what's going on there. Might have been Rez's AK. Anyway, there's 3 now for OpTic. They're hidden behind the smoke. This is like classic Inferno.
Just waiting for that B smoke to fade. They've got 2 smokes. They can do the coffin and the CT spawner. I think that's what's going to happen. There's a flashbang over from Get Right. He sees the smoke coming out, playing behind one of his own. That's going to fade soon. It fades now. He's fortunate to get away. Now the high HP players are swinging. He can get nothing done. Dennis is left with it all. Config's going to lead the way with low HP. He's blind. There's the peek from Dennis. He's missed Config, and he can't find the kill. Somehow this is going to work out for OpTic, and again, much like Mirage, NIP's going to win the second, and OpTic with a chance to steal back in the third.
Certainly looks like they're going to be able to steal it back as well. Yugi, he does drop to Forest, not getting the spray across. 3 low HP players here for OpTic. I'm not sure the info is there for NIP, but they certainly will be aware at least that some of them are quite low. Molly coming in, and Config will not necessarily burn alive, but still dies. Now into the 2v2. You actually favor NIP here. Gade hits a very important shot, though, and Forest needs to come away with 4 kills in the round. It's going to be Gade, though, to close it out. Great work from him, and he's actually had some pretty good rounds here on Inferno, getting some important ones for OpTic. And now NIP, they're back to the drawing board.
OpTic a lot of faith in someone like Config to provide them the opening kill, and he does just that. Even gets the follow-up into the B bomb site as he kind of snuck past Dennis's vision during the confusion of that hit towards the B bomb site. Small note there as well. Rez goes down with that peek towards the half wall, and he actually dropped the smoke as well. That gave OpTic one more piece of utility they could use to hit that B bomb site. So just a nice little gift provided them. And the NIP again going to have to try and win with CZs and 2 deagles.
Yeah, so the investment again from them. And OpTic, again, just playing very passive on this T side initially. They're not doing anything too crazy. They're not trying to take control of Banana early on in the piece. They're just setting up default and seeing if NIP is going to give themselves any room to work with. Not the case in this round, but it's always nice to play safe.
Early smoke used by Dennis in mid. Not really doing a whole lot to delay, as OpTic didn't look like they wanted to progress across the map at that point whatsoever. Now they can start pressuring again. Smoke towards Rap side. NIP throws 1 towards lane, allowing them to have brackets, but containing them there. But still very slow and measured from the Danish side.
Solon said he wins the race. Or so they say. 45 seconds left here for OpTic, and that's still plenty of time to work with. Plenty of utility, a lot of smokes, a lot of mollies out there as well. So they should have no problems getting into this A bomb site if they end up using that utility, but just dry peeking here, and that gives the opportunity over to Forest. He doesn't manage to land either of those shots. Had he done, it might have been cause for concern for OpTic, but now Dennis, 2 kills with the CZ, does almost get the reload across. In fact, he does, but he can't connect the shots. And OpTic, they steamroll their way into the A bomb site, but a couple of shots that would have gone the way of NIP, that could have really gone their way. In the end, OpTic, though, get it with 3 kills, or 3 players left alive, I should say.
NIP did pretty much everything they could. They had exactly what they wanted. OpTic ran into a 3-man stack. 3 different angles you have to worry about. Dennis gets the only 2 kills. Just maybe 1 from Forrest and Pitt or the other player inside the bomb site, and that could have turned the head. There was a 4th player at the A bomb site on Rap side. Wasn't able to get anything done either, so it all just kind of collapses around that success from Dennis. And OpTic will sustain. They'll win 2 in a row. It'll be 12-7. Rez going to try and take some of these guns away right at the end for the bomb explosion. Cajun's watching this, and he spots it out and taps away.
Yeah, nice kill out from Cajun. He's been, I think, very quiet. Like, okay, that's probably not fair to say. He hasn't been quiet, but the manner in which he's managed to get all these kills, like he was sitting at the top frag actually on the first half. I don't know if you noticed. Now he's been eclipsed by Config, but he was doing really good work on the first half. It just wasn't anything fancy, but he was getting the job done, and that was really cool to see for OpTic.
Even his time in some of the previous Danish lineups, he's never been like the loudest player, so to speak, on those teams, has he? He's gotten, you know, the kills that's needed from him. He's done just enough. He's played his role very admirably, and he's always been a pretty consistent rock that you can kind of rely on to get the impact when you need it most. Config gonna duel away against the USPs towards top mid, and that one's going to be easy, and he's loving this. Now he wants to start deathmatching. He doesn't spot Dennis's push. Meanwhile, OpTic is going to take this B bomb site. NIP has kind of given it space. They just don't have anything to really fight with, and this should be around for OpTic, as with the bomb site taken, with no flank coming in for NIP and 3 USPs here, it's just a matter of finding these final kills for OpTic.
Yeah, can't really count on much coming out from the USPs. It's an easy round for OpTic, up to 13 now, and it's starting to look a bit worrisome for NIP. I thought coming into today they would be a shoo-in to close this match out, but OpTic are really showing a good performance here. This is, well, the last map that they won was the first map that they've actually won with this roster, and now they might be able to put 2 on the trot at pretty much the best possible time. If not, they were facing elimination. Now, it's NIP, in fact, who are facing elimination.
And recall this as well, NIP has no timeouts left. They used all 4 to make that small comeback in the first half to give themselves a chance, and you can't even really fault them for it, down 9-1 in a couple rounds where they just knew they had to continue to build upon just what little success they had. Here, NIP has to do everything on the fly. They've got to figure it all out with no extra time to kind of discuss what they're seeing. And if they do make a comeback and get into overtime, they'll have no timeouts for that. Well, we don't have to get there quite yet. It's still a long ways away, obviously. And a 3-man stack for NIP towards the lane side, or diggity, of this A bomb site.
Love it.
Rez and Get Right far away over at B. Yeah, that was for you.
Thanks. Big stack, though, yeah, from NIP. Not something you see too often, but might be just enough of a change-up that OpTic aren't necessarily aware of it. However, it could well go awry here for NIP if we just see that side smoked off. Although, we'll see what OpTic do decide to do. It looks like they might actually be progressing through that part of the map, judging by the utilities that have been thrown out. And this is going to work out nicely for NIP. It's a 1-for-1 trade, but Dennis here in the boiler is able to find another one, and Forrest still locking down the angle in towards Pit and the cross onto the site. OpTic have just walked right into that trap. Gay does get rid of Dennis, though, and brings it back to a 2v3. Still workable for the T side.
Well, Snappy's probably wishing he had a rifle of some sort. The MAC-10 in Pit doesn't exactly make for the most dangerous weapon. He's got to run the gauntlet at some point. No more utility for OpTic, and he's got to get into that bomb site to get the plant. Gade's going to help him do just that. He's got to go into the bomb site. They do not have lanes secured, and that's going to leave both players trapped for this retake. NIP using all their nades as they come in. Forrest can't find the kill. It takes him a little bit of time. Gade's still alive, but too many angles to check. So NIP do survive with that nice stack. It does its job.
Yeah, pretty critical round out there for NIP, but I got to say, at this point, every single round for them is going to be pretty critical. And they do save 3 guns through, but still their money is not amazing. OpTic are going to be able to get a buy through, and this is still dangerous territory for NIP. If they drop this one, that might be 2-0 up for OpTic.
I mean, this is the danger of NIP. Not only do they have to win these rounds, but they have to win some pretty convincingly. That was a good start with 3 surviving in that victory. I think they even brought the op over into the next round, but they have to be able to build up some money. They cannot let OpTic have them at that kind of reset point, because a reset here for NIP would be a disaster. They really need to build up some bank to sustain losses. Look how passive OpTic is being right off the start. Snappy still all the way back towards T-spawn.
This is fairly standard from what we've seen from OpTic. They haven't been so aggressive on Inferno. They were doing it quite a lot on Mirage.
What a contrast from their highly fast, aggressive offense on Mirage.
It's a little bit of a change up, but it's working okay for OpTic right now, so can't complain too much.
It's funny, it's almost like they have like an idea of how to play their offense based off their own defense, right? With the double ops that we saw peeking down, Banana peeking down mid, you know, with Yugi and Config with those AWPs. They're trying to prevent themselves from taking damage, but NIP only 1 op on the board and not even really being that aggressive.
Not at all. Again, utility into the A-bomb site here for OpTic. It's a much different setup, though, for NIP this time. That might be the opening for OpTic that they do need, although Forrest, I think, might have just spotted the bomb there. In fact, the rotation is definitely coming across from the B-bomb site. Not that it's necessarily needed right now, as NIP are holding strong on A. And Cajun and Config, who stuck themselves in separate situations. They need to win the 1v1s, and only one of them is going to go their way. Config will also drop. So NIP, they put 2 on the board, and a really critical 2 as well, as that does at least sort of avoid the immediate reset and gives them a chance to come back into this.
You've got to love the way Forrest handled that execute. He sees the wall of smokes coming. He knows that it's usually for players to come out of those A-halls, finds that corner in the smoke, and he's even able to transfer over towards lane very quickly to find a quick kill. Almost able to build upon the third, but he's got that really awkward off angle that OpTic just didn't expect coming through their own smokes. 9-13, one more buy for NIP to burn through on this T side. Nades down to the base of Banana does massive damage. That is a great start to the round for NIP.
Yeah, but OpTic this time, they've changed things up a little bit, very aggressive into Banana, but punished a little bit for it by those grenades. So we'll see what happens next round. Have to keep an eye on when they get their next gun round, if they're going to make a change up again and go back to that slow play.
Well, NIP noticed the change as well. Dennis has come over towards this B bomb site. 3 players defending here for NIP. That smoke in the choke point going to neutralize the 2 smokes that OpTic just threw out. They don't want to go through that, not with 1 minute and 15 seconds left in this round. Config risks the gap that he didn't know was there, and he's going to get across, but all of OpTic now falling back towards the B bomb site. But NIP, they're keeping this 3-man stack really, really strong. Draken has that angle towards top mid, so he knows that no one is aggressing towards A.
OpTic just quite content to sit behind this smoke, but it is going to be fading shortly. Now the incendiary's out from NIP, and, well, there's a player through. Not sure who it is. Config actually getting into CT spawn here, and let's see what kind of work he can do, because this is the make or break for OpTic Gaming, and Get Right, oh, that was close. He goes down there, which he does in the end, actually, from Spam, but Rez coming up with the goods. 2 men getting sprayed down. Still NIP need to retake the site 2v2. The incendiary in will force Rez off, or rather, that's in the end, he's going to be alive and kicking. And NIP tasked now with a very tough retake, no more utility to play with. An AWP there as well for Draken might not be the ideal weapon. And Cajun with an off angle, this is going to catch Forrest off guard for sure. A little bit cheeky on the trigger finger there, though, does give the opportunity over to NIP now as the frags do come out. And NIP, they secure a retake, put themselves on 10.
Cajun jumped the gun. He must have seen an elbow or a shadow and thought it was going to be the peak, and gives up his position. Nice kill from Draken over into the bomb site, coming over from Ruins, and we're going to get the first time out of OpTic. They had an easy time in the first half, and this will be their first one used.
Probably a discussion about whether or not they should buy here.
I mean, you think about that retake, a 2-on-2. I was looking at the money of NIP and how desperate a situation. I mean, we mentioned Rez yesterday. Big impact player for NIP on this map against SK. Delivers the goods again there on the defense. But everyone from NIP was below $1,500, and that retake was coming in, and still not going to have great money. So with the plan, I think OpTic's going to go for a buy here. They want to keep the pressure on this economy, still with 3 rounds to play with. This feels like the kind of team that is going to keep that pressure up.
I don't see why there's any reason that you wouldn't here if you're OpTic Gaming. Obviously, like you said, they've got those 3 rounds to play with. They're going to be able to get 4 AKs out. Well, actually, probably only 3. Depends whether or not Gade wants head armor, but I suppose he does.
Go for a half buy, so it's a nice little middle ground.
Yeah, I guess. And they can still do damage. This is something that we were talking about yesterday as well, I think, in that best of 3 that we casted, where it was, do they force buy or do they just go for that pistol armor buy and just try and do damage to the economy? Well, this might not in the end actually hurt OpTic Gaming too much. If they can get 2 or 3 kills out of this, they've still done well.
They're going to test the B bomb site again, though. They're going to test it with a B rush. Get Right and Rez need to be on top of their game. Utility being used. Get Right misses that flashbang. Not a good start. Got to drop the Molotov. Sees so many bodies. That's delaying. Taking this duel, it can be dangerous. Holding on, and he's going to drop the smoke. So the rush doesn't work out, but Get Right's still getting tagged up out in the open. He's going to give it up. So OpTic applied some pressure. And actually, I think they're just going to stick around, go towards this B bomb site, because Dennis almost has to stay here. Get Right and Rez have used all of their nades. Rez has 1 smoke, but Molotovs, flashbangs have been used to stop that rush.
The interesting thing to note, though, for OpTic is they still have 3 smokes here. So a lot of options available for them.
Cajun and Snappy, I think, just checking the flanks, making sure they're not getting pushed down from mid, and also this kind of slowdown and this silence across the map has made Dennis feel a bit nervous. Last round we saw them with the read of this similar situation. Dennis stuck at the B bomb site. Now he's second guessing it. Draken was in a similar position as well, so they had the knowledge of top mid. They have it again here, but they're making a different read, a different call. Get Right and Rez are about to have a lot of pressure put on them with these mobile CZs.
30 seconds on the clock now as well for OpTic Gaming. They don't have much time, but Very well and truly set up, ready to hit this B site, and the rotation not anywhere nearby for NIP. It's going to take them a long time to get across to B here, so it's going to be make or break whether these B site holders can manage to hold onto the site safely. Rez opening up nicely for NIP. The kill's just not coming out fast enough for OpTic, and in fact, not at all. In the end, Yugi does find Rez, but the damage is too much for OpTic to deal with here. Bomb might be able to go down, but still a 2 versus 3. And OpTic needs a big individual step up here from Yugi, most likely, although Cajun has found himself an M4 now as well. And this is starting to look a little bit worrisome for NIP. They do lose Draken. Rap coming in from Banana, but Cajun B stepping up with 3 kills in this round, and just one more to find. NIP, they surely do not want to lose this round here, as that would be very detrimental to their comeback. And Forrest, tasked with the 1v2, doesn't have a lot of time to play with. He knows the positioning of Cajun and now the second player, but there's just too many angles to look at. And 14-10 up now for OpTic Gaming, and NIP, that is not a round that you can afford to lose.
We mentioned Cajun being quiet, not always the flashiest player, but delivering when called upon, and he does it here again, salvages the M4. Even all put together, a decent hold from Rez and GetRight, considering they had no nades and they had all the smokes coming over. They get 2 initial kills. Draken gets lucky through the smoke with an op shot, but Cajun takes over from there, picks up that M4, delivers 3 more kills to close things out. That is a beautiful performance, and this is what we mentioned. NIP, not only do they have to win these rounds, but they needed to win them clean, and they didn't do that across 3 rounds. The previous 2 being whittled down to just 2 players surviving in each of their wins, which puts them in a situation where they can only afford pistols. There's not going to be a single rifle on the board this round for NIP, and OpTic once again have taken control before the comeback really gets in full swing.
What a crazy world we live in, where NIP are now on the brink of being knocked out 2-0 by OpTic Gaming, who up until this tournament had not won a map.
Essentially, yeah, I was going to say, essentially a brand new lineup, right?
Crazy. But such is the storyline that's presenting itself. NIP, well, they're not out just yet, but with the pistol and armor in this round, it's a very, very difficult task ahead of them. And they pretty much need this round.
Config's feeling confident. He can just walk up, march up, grab this angle, knows he doesn't have the AWP to worry about, knows likely it's a low buy or a force. Well, I gotta take that fight. Ooh, but confidence is returned with great damage dealt by NIP. That was Rez to bring Config down to 38. Gonna temper him a little bit.
Still a lot to play with though for OpTic. Even despite losing a bit of HP there for Config, they still will be easily able to get some control into Banana here, which has been fairly successful for them. Once they've gotten control of Banana, their hits onto the B bomb site, the conversion has been quite good. And again, that seems to be where they are setting themselves up. Lots of utility to work with, and NIP, for their own right, they have quite a bit, but 50 seconds still to stall. OpTic will be quite content to just wait this out for the moment.
OpTic loving this B bomb site down the stretch, aren't they? This is 3 rounds in a row now they've come here. GetRight, this Molotov is going to be so important. Does he get the timing on it? Spam coming through on the other side of the smoke. He's got the lineup to bounce it off the wall. Forrest now starting to rotate over, so is Dennis. They're starting to cheat. This can be a staunch defense for NIP, and boy, do they need it.
Well, it has to be a staunch defense indeed, as Rez might be the first one that is called to arms, and he will find the kill under Yugi, an AK in his hands now as well, and it's going perfectly for NIP. Gade doing his best, but with that smoke, keeps him at bay, and the bomb is in a really awful position right now for OpTic as well. NIP, they've just managed to grasp one away from nothing. Cajun, he's got other ideas, but he doesn't have the time, and he's going to get the kills. He just needs to find this last one onto Drake, and no time available, though, to him. An almost heroic effort, but not quite enough in the end.
Cage is a madman. And actually, that was huge that he gets all those kills. Think of all the free rifles NIP could have had and all the money that would have been behind it. They really, really need to have better discipline in those kind of scenarios. I know it's criticizing them in a winning round, which is great for them to win that to begin with, but oh, they could have had everything. They could have had such a great arsenal moving forward at 14-11, but instead Cajun takes all that opportunity away. They wanted that kill. I guess the one silver lining is that Cajun goes down after the time, so he gets no bonus money. That's not the biggest thing in the world. Snappy on a CZ, Config on a Deagle. So neither team have really a lot of cash built up. This is a great opportunity once again for NIP. Despite all the struggles they've been through in this game, the comeback they had to mount in the first half, the resets they've endured in this half, they still have a chance.
Very important round in the grand scheme of things. It could be the way back in for NIP. They're still searching for it right now. OpTic very much in the lead, 3 rounds the advantage. And on the T side, they're going to have a lot of buys still left ahead of them here before this map is over. But NIP are grinding hard at this one on Inferno. Like what we saw yesterday, they were down against SK, I think by 3 rounds as well, and trying to hold on here against OpTic. Although the opening 2 this round has not been so great for NIP. Gade with 2 very nice entries, and Draken, he pretty much needs to get these next 2 frags. In the end, it's not going to go his way, and OpTic surely putting themselves at 15 now, and that will put them onto match point as well.
Oh, this is a disaster for NIP. And once again, you go back, only 1 player survived in the previous round. They're going to have no money. Rez needs to save this M4. Looks like he's getting close enough to maybe get 1 or 2 exit kills, but might not be worth the risk. He's got to fall away now, get right with the UMP as well. And yeah, this is just such a dire situation looking at the money. Great entries from Gade. And OpTic is able to just march up towards the A bomb, so they put such a heavy emphasis over towards the B side. I don't know if that A defense was really ready for that hit. Caught them off guard. NIP's won 4 of the last 6. But they're going to be, once again, backs against the wall. And this time they don't have any more mistakes to give up. 11-15, NIP has to win 4 in a row, and they've got to do it with very little money. They've already won 2 of these rounds in this half, the second round, and then that just previous one that we saw with the CZs.
But you can't keep relying on rounds like that if you're NIP. Well, they're going to have to rely on it one more time, at least. And that'll just put them back up to 15-12. Still more rounds needed ahead of them, even if they do win the next. But this is potentially the last round that we're going to see NIP play here in Dallas. As if they do lose this one, OpTic Gaming goes through. NIP's knocked out. And that is such a crazy thought that NIP could be knocked out at this point. Very much similar to thinking how SK could have been knocked out at IEM, and in the end they were.
Ooh, Rez playing with fire, spammed through, only takes a little bit of damage, could have been worse. Gonna fall away. This time NIP is being more aggressive across the map, denying map control. Force is gonna challenge over towards A-Halls, gets in a duel with Cajun. He's gonna win it with the Deagle. They needed that kill. That's a big, big heavy hitter for OpTic out of the fight. Cajun is 28-12. And all that's left is to hit this B bomb site. It's a 4-on-2 here. Great dink on to Get Right, and Rez also low HP, and he's confined by the flames. Get Right gonna get behind the smoke to provide some cover for his teammate, and OpTic gonna back off, but Dennis has them blocked in.
Tense times ahead right now for NIP. Still a very winnable round off the back of the kill that Forrest did achieve, and with the positioning here of Dennis, it could all fall apart for OpTic. If the timing is right for NIP and they've rotated that 3rd player over to B as well, OpTic might be walking into a trap here and slowly progressing to their own death, at least in this round. There's still work to be done past that by NIP, but an opening kill for OpTic, that's big. Get Right at least able to trade back and hasn't been traded out himself. Eventually he does go down, but 30 seconds on the clock to get the bomb planted here for OpTic, and NIP really putting the pressure on right now as the bomb does go down, but the kills come across for NIP and they survive at least 1 more round.
Yeah, and so much pressure being applied by Dennis coming up Banana as well. I mean, even if that bomb goes down and they have a little bit more time, they might not even be able to win that. So many different angles NIP was coming in on, and somehow again, they stave off the calamity of elimination. 12-15. Another buy that they have to go through for OpTic. But they've got some money. Now they've got some toys. Now they've got the M4s, the AKs, and all the nades they could possibly need. Kits are going to be on the board, so NIP looking stronger than they have throughout the majority of this half. Great job from Draken with this Deagle. That kill onto Gade, it even finds the planter. Yugi's completely blind. No chance of recovery for him. Good teamwork, good communication from NIP, all pressuring the B bomb site at the same time.
There are still rounds to play with, though, for OpTic. If they lose this one, they'll get at least another buy through, so they have that to fall back on. And NIP, they don't have any chances left. They can still push us through to the overtime, though. They've had heaps of crazy, crazy rounds here in this map so far. And now they've stabilized a little bit, but the job's not yet over. They can't sleep yet.
This time NIP not challenging for the same kind of control as the previous round. We saw Forrest at the end of Halls take out Cajun. This time he's much more passive in lane, and they've got another 3-man setup to defend against brackets. OpTic. I'm going to get Banana for free as Get Right and Rez have basically not challenged that the whole half. If you look, it's not too frequently you see the B defenders with this many nades left just past a minute. 2 Molotovs, 2 smokes, and 2 flashbangs as well. 1 Molotov just used now.
It really feels like the momentum has shifted, at least as far as that B bomb site is concerned. OpTic not getting in there as easily, and perhaps the A bomb site not going to be an easy task for OpTic here either, as Cajun goes down. Draken doing a big amount of work here for NIP in this round. 2 kills already for him, and looking for the third. Doesn't get it, but a lot of damage across from him. And NIP situating themselves in a really, really good spot now. These last 25 seconds of the round, OpTic have a huge amount of work to do.
Force and Dennis, they're going to be called upon, two of the best players on NIP. Force is blind, so is Dennis. A lot of space being made, but Force recovers in time, and they handle it perfectly. The flashbang doesn't keep them out of the fight for long enough. 15-13, and NIP have taken the money away from OpTic. It'll have to be a save for that 30th round of this half of regulation.
Oh, we're going to get to C30. That's fairly likely, at least at this point. I don't want to lock it in.
Let's not do that.
Let's not lock it in. But you'd have to think, in theory, this one should be going to 15-14 at least, as NIP face down this eco.
That is a curious play from Gade. I'm not sure if that was the design or miscommunication, but no chance of trading as he comes up mid. Easier for Draken to build upon that and get the double kill. And it looks like OpTic just want to end this round, get it over with. Get Right and Rez are going to be here through all their utility. They hear the footsteps. Nade coming out, spray down from Get Right. Only able to get one, curiously enough, but the Molotov still holds OpTic at bay. Flashbang is going to delay them a little bit longer. Rez out in the open. Should be able to build upon this. A TK comes in, which isn't great, but no big loss. 15-14 now. And OpTic, I imagine they would take a timeout. They've only used one.
Yeah, it looks like it. They have enough money to buy through pretty much everything they could want here. Unlikely that we'll get an AWP out, I would say, at this point for OpTic. But for NIP, they've got themselves that one onto Draken. And they've got everything, which is definitely a good sign here for NIP, something that they haven't really had.
A turn of fortunes, I think we'll call it. They're going to
Tables have turned.
Yeah, they're not quite sure how to use all these nades. They don't know if they remember how to do it. NIP, maybe one of the few times we've seen them in the driver's seat, and pardon me, this is actually OpTic's third timeout use, not their second. Either way, OpTic is going to have to win this round. They're going to have the AK-47s, but they're going to have to do it with sparse nades. Config and Snappy are pretty well off. Gade, Cajun, and Yugi are hurting in that department, but they've got the weaponry.
All right, well, again, for NIP, this could be the last round we see them play here.
The switch of the double op setup as well. We haven't seen that out of NIP, so they've got one round to make it work. And I mean, why not? Why not? No better round than this. Maybe catch them off guard with the double ops.
No, absolutely. Throw something a little bit different at OpTic Gaming. Maybe they're not going to be ready for it. The flash out, and Rez almost gets the timing shot through the flashbang, but in the end, OpTic unscathed. Now have got control of Banana.
Nice little flashbang to bounce off the top of that wall. Blinding opponents in perfect position. Again, everyone towards this B bomb site. And with Forrest and Draken with this kind of an angle over towards Porch, towards lane side, Dennis is once again going to have that cheat towards the B bomb site. He's about halfway there, but he's second guessing himself. And they did this earlier in the half where Dennis was at the B bomb site. It worked perfectly. And another time where Dennis stayed over towards A, and they lost that round. Dennis needs to hustle and get over towards this B bomb site. They have the intel. There's no mid presence. Dennis is still sticking around at A.
The more time that OpTic buys there, the longer it takes the CTs on the rotation, given what Dennis was doing. And they've actually hit that bomb site with the perfect timing. It's a 1-for-1 trade so far, and Rez trying to hold on to it, does miss the shot. It looked so close, and this might be NIP bowing out of Dallas now in a 3 versus 4 for the retake on the B bomb site. The chances of this one, minuscule almost for NIP, but they have to find a way to make it work.
Defense caught out in really awkward positions. Get Right not able to put his Molotov down, and he actually backs away in the open, gets pressured and just burns alive, nowhere else to go. And yes, now this is such a desperate situation. OpTic may have just done it right at the end. So many advantages for NIP, none of them working in their favor now. Coming through the smoke, it's just not happening. Dennis is going to find one, but he needs to build, and there's Draken with an up shot into a one-on-one, and Dennis, can he do it? Taps the bomb, luring Config into the open, but the information is that the defuse is not happening, and Config is outplayed Dennis, and that's going to be it. OpTic is going to win in the final round, and NIP is going home.
What a massive game out from OpTic, and A perfect time to pull out your first couple of wins as well. It gets rid of NIP out of the tournament. You keep yourself alive here in Dallas, and they're going to be feeling extremely pleased with how that one's gone.
That hurts so much. You have to feel for the Ninjas. They fought so hard in this game, from an atrocious first half into a nice comeback, and even having to grind down those last few rounds. They win 3 rounds that they had to force by CZs and Deagles in that second half, and still can't manage to force overtime to try and take it there. Too slow of starts, but a good heroic effort from NIP.
Yeah, definitely. And, well, NIP's gone from Dallas now, and that means that OpTic continue on forward. That's it from us now, though. We'll go back over to the desk and see what they think of that one.
Thanks very much, fellas. Yes, 9-1 down. The Ninjas do manage to forge quite the comeback, get us to a full 30 rounds of play, but it's just not quite enough. Imagine, had Rez hit that shot, could we be staring down the barrel of overtime? But all the same, OpTic Gaming find some of their very first wins, as Acasta so rightly put, some of their very first map wins. In fact, they were 0 for 5 coming into this one, and now into an offline environment, they managed to get themselves a nice 2-0 in the best of 3.
It's funny what ping differential will do for some players.
It's turn things around, doesn't it?
Yeah, but look, NIP started this series every single time the game kicked off, every half with their back to the wall, right? They weren't winning any pistols, and that's a huge factor. And then there are other opportunities that they had to capitalize on. That Cajun round over towards the B bomb site, where he's picking up those kills with the M4, winning a round that they should have never had any hope in. That's, for me, the most pivotal round in that whole second map for these OpTic guys. Their CT side, I thoroughly enjoyed their pacing early, right? They were locking down NIP, just going for that default spread, and they were making good mid-round decisions on when to go for picks, when to go for aggression and take territory. Props to NIP for knowing when they needed to change the pace, because they really capitalized and got 6 rounds on the board, which is pretty good after that 9-1 start.
NIP going home. Jacob, not something we anticipated. I think, we would throw around conversation in the green room. It would be like, yeah, probably going to be a 2-0. I don't think OpTic would have been at the tip of our tongue for who took it.
No, definitely not. And it's sort of like a sad story with this NIP lineup, because I feel like they're sort of like stagnated for now. It's a team that we had high hopes in whenever they brought in Draken and Rest, and that's nearly a year ago now at Malmö. I think we saw them the first time, and there was some good signs, and they ended up winning a few tournaments here and there and actually getting back to a
Oakland.
Decent level. Yeah, Oakland, but it's been a little bit too much hit and miss. I don't think we've seen NIP being consistently being one of the better teams yet, and I think it's a little bit sad for them that they haven't been able to find that consistency and grind it out.
I'm going to put my hand up here. I had them in my top 6 for this tournament. I thought coming in here, them and Na'Vi, obviously they missed Sydney. I thought they were bigger missions. I thought they could have done a lot of damage in Sydney.
It's because of Marseille, right?
Yeah, like I think, there was really good signs and lots of positive things. But here you could see, especially on Mirage in the first map, some of the calls just seemed a bit flat. It seemed like a team that wanted to brawl a bit more than use the players to their potential, which is kind of, I guess, more of a Dennis play style.
I think they're missing threat a lot in this whole new lineup. I think that would be a guy who could help Dennis to form this team and make him a great in-game leader. But I don't know what exactly role Peter has to this lineup, but it doesn't seem like he's utilizing the same timeout technique as Threat is doing. And then again, having Dennis as an in-game leader compared to before where he had Exist, it's just not the same.
I do feel like Dennis's attitude is always going to be more of a kind of can-do, I don't need help, kind of we've got this next round, kind of not dismissive, but more of a he's strong on his own kind of mindset, as opposed to Exist open to perhaps more and more outside input. But you're right, maybe not utilizing that resource of a coach. I don't know if Peter is standing behind them, he's just not having the opportunity to speak.
Sure, I've spoken to him several times about, kind of what his role in the team is. It's kind of to hold Dennis's hand through this whole in-game leader, progression, and he's going to do more of the demo watching, right? Give them the information. I think more dictating the way the game's played is going to be Dennis's choice, right? It's going to be him seeing what he thinks works best for the team. Now, you look at the players in the roster, they have a lot of guys that are able to brawl, right? It's not like they have anyone that's a designated support player. Everybody can frag and stand on their own 2 feet.
Yeah, I mean, this is what the biggest question I think for a lot of people was going to be, which kind of form of OpTic do we get to see? Because as we said, on paper, it does look like a roster that will eventually be able to find their feet. Probably, in the same category as the initial North, where we were like, oh, maybe they'll get into that grand final by surprise at one point and we don't know what else to expect. But you know what? They've got hard hitters, and we saw them hitting relatively hard here in our second day in Dallas. A couple of players that stood out, we talked about Yugi and Config. This is quite a scary combination of players when you put them in the server, Jacob.
Definitely, and especially when you have Cajun B showing up as well as he did on Inferno. It's such a great sign to see him coming back into the form that he should be having on pretty much all the teams he's playing in. When he was in Astralis, he was widely considered as one of the most consistent players in the world, and he always, hold up to his own, always putting down 20 frags and being that rock-solid player. And if he can be the same guy in OpTic, having Config and Yugi around him, then that can be really, really scary for the opponents going into the future.
Run boost, by the way, did you catch this? I mean...
Ridiculous.
it's filthy. You're run boosting onto the banana wall. Like, I mean, I know Rez in that scenario just got no scoped, but even for a fast peek down towards the AWP holding banana.
I mean, the purpose of that one boost was to get him up on the wall and then close down banana. He didn't think he was that close to him, which plays into the fact that Yugi is just an amazing player, being able to adapt, like making such an extraordinary play and then adapting into the play and just no-scoping the hell out of Rez right there. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I'd love to see it from his perspective. I'm sure we'll be able to find that at some point on the internet, just because suddenly a player appears above you and you've died to an AWP. Rather scary stuff. But what was also scary is that the NIP have been eliminated. One of the bigger names so far purged from the Pro League Season 7 finals. We do have an interview standing by, so we can go ahead and hear from the winners. I'm sure they're going to be having a big smile on their face, but the journey is by no means over. We do see a config standing by with Stunner. Let's see if we can hear what's going down in Chinatown.
I don't know that we're necessarily in Chinatown, Alex, but it was good. It felt good. Either way, what we are standing on is victory ground here for OpTic. They have eliminated the Ninjas in Pajamas here in Dallas right away. Config, talk to me about what's on your mind, man.
I'm just really happy that we won the match. We weren't expecting anything, so it's just good for a new team to get some confidence and energy, and that's what we get from winning against NIP.
Well, that is exactly what we'll build up, I suppose. Let's talk a little bit more about this team, though. I think you guys came into this matchup probably a little more so on the underdog side, perhaps even across the entirety of the event. What do you have now to say for that?
I still think we're the underdogs, and we don't really care about it. We just want to win and then get up the rankings and then get the invites for the other tournaments. That's what we're going to play for, and we want to win every single time, so that's what we're playing for.
And that is what it's all about, winning. So you're going to be going on to play the winner of, I believe it is, Liquid and Space Soldiers. Where do you see that one landing, and, well, who do you want to play?
I don't care. We're going to win no matter what's done, you know it. So Liquid or Space Soldiers, see you tomorrow, I guess.
Yeah, or we'll see you when you see... Wait, we'll see you when we see you. Whatever, Alex, just get us out of here, man.
Yeah, it would be my pleasure. Thank you very much. That's Stunner and Config there. Confident as ever. Also relieved, so not sure how those two combine, but relieved to be able to fight again. And he's saying, looking forward to playing the winner of Liquid versus Space Soldier, which is actually the next game coming up. Before we do take our break and we prepare ourselves for Liquid versus Space Soldiers, I want to talk about none other than ESEA. Have you guys got the fancy hoodies? You got the repping the ESEA hoodies? Yeah.
It's a bit warm to be wearing them.
Yeah, it is 30 degrees outside.
That's where I'm sitting.
Yeah, you're right. But there is air conditioning, and I have seen players donning them as well.
Oh, Alex, we can do what we always do when we finish these events. We go back to our homes, we think we're going to spend time with our loved ones, and instead we play games with each other, and I think ESEA is the best platform for us to do that on.
Yeah, because what we do, Chad, right, is we go to our browser of our choice, and we type in play.esea.net, and then we install, what's it called? The client, that's it. And then we go ahead and boot her up and play. I've got about 11 RWS.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, play 3 games.
Very decent.
Keep telling you to stop AWPing, but...
I think we all know.
I was told that my entire career as well.
I'm the AWPer of the team. Hey, Pimp, I've seen at least 3 or 4 AWP highlights from Jacob Pimp
Many more, yeah.
Yeah, so actually, you know what? That's what you can do. You could be the next AWPer battling versus Pimp. Go to play.esea.net. And if you do really well, you'll end up in the MDL. You can find that nice and easily as well. That is just going to be esea.net/MDL. That's all the good stuff for now. Liquid versus Space Soldiers is coming up next. We get to see how Space Soldiers fare versus an even scarier opponent. It's all coming up after the break. And we'll see you then.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the B stream. We're strapped in for day number 2. And I'm back with my number 2, Big Man Snods. How you doing?
Doing well, mate. Doing well. How about yourself?
Yeah, it's been good. Obviously,
Went home early, long sleep.
Yeah, you had a bit of a late night. You had a long one.
We did. Double overtime with Sharks versus Cloud9, going all the way until 3 o'clock in the morning. But we're here bright and early again.
Yeah, you've woken up fresh on the right side of the bed.
I wish it was fresh.
Yeah, you're not feeling ready?
No, we got back actually to the hotel and it was already light outside.
Okay, well, standard. That's what you want. It's esports. That's what we live for. But let's have a look at the schedule for today so we can break down who exactly is going to be duking it out against each other. 3 best of 3s is the soup of the day, Snods.
Yes, obviously here on the secondary stream, first matchup, the Aussie Derby, Renegades versus Greyhound in the best of 3. Once again, following the losers matchup, Cloud9, Heroic, and then obviously the final match of the day, NRG, which we saw last night, playing versus Mousesports, who went on to lose 2-0 to FaZe.
Yeah, I actually think we've got quite a good game here to kick it off with as well. Renegades versus Greyhound, obviously the 2 Australian teams that have arrived at the tournament, and one of them is going to be able to progress, and that is quite a big kicker.
True, on the mainstream as well, OpTic versus NIP. NIP with the loss to SK, maybe SK finding form now with Cold Zero as the IGL on the majority of the maps. Also the Danish team now for OpTic, all 5 members coming from Denmark. How is that team going to be better now from the former roster, all being from the same country? Following that one, Space Soldiers with a 16-7 victory as well. Actually, Liquid versus Space Soldiers, Liquid beat Greyhound 16-5, Space Soldiers beat Renegades 16-7, so really they're the winners from our matchup, and they're going into the final match of the day on the mainstream, Astralis versus SK. That's a great matchup to watch.
Yeah, that really is going to be a big one. That'll be quite a juicy affair. The OpTic NIP game is going to be interesting as well, because obviously, I mean, Hugo casted that first game for OpTic.
Yes.
We wanted to see some cool stuff coming out for them. There's definitely signs of potential, but as of right now, you can see definitely room for improvement. They still need to get that cohesion there as is a very, very young roster. But let's have a look at the bracket for the Group A as well, so we can see who exactly is going to be progressing and where they'll be going.
Yeah, obviously the recap of yesterday's matches, early matches early on we saw on the B stream, Mousesports versus Sharks. Sharks actually showed some good, content, let's say. They had some content plays to go back with. They had 10 rounds versus Mousesports. Took a map off of Cloud9, for example, so they can leave with their heads held high. Following that one, the FaZe versus C9. FaZe just annihilating Cloud9 as we saw them go into the best of 3 versus Sharks. NRG losing out 16-6 on Mirage versus Heroic. And obviously MVP losing 16-7 as well versus Na'Vi and Mirage. So then go into the bracket play, or the best of 3s. Mousesports versus FaZe, 2-0 as I said earlier. And then the 2-1, actually Heroic pick up the first map as well versus Na'Vi.
Yeah, then moving on, obviously, to the lower bracket that we have on the Group A side of things. That's where Heroic and Cloud9 are going to be clashing, and Mousesports and NRG. Now, for NRG as well, it's actually a very drawn-out affair that you casted yesterday. Seeming like a slow start for them. Definitely issues there, obviously losing that initial map and then having to try and claw it back. But towards the end of it, form had kind of returned. What do you think was going on with that?
It's strange to see, obviously, for NRG coming into Cash. Maybe they lacked a game plan, I'm not sure, because they were definitely caught off guard by just the, level of play that the Koreans brought.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe a surprise factor there. And now onto the Group B bracket as well, Snods.
Yeah, Team Liquid versus Greyhound. We saw that match earlier up on Cash. One-sided affair. Liquid winning that one 16-5. Space Soldiers Renegades, a game that really caught me by surprise, actually. Space Soldiers 16-7, as I said earlier, versus Renegades. And as you casted with Hugo, OpTic Gaming versus Astralis. So one-sided matchup in the favor of Astralis. What was it, 16-3 or 16-4 along those lines?
Very, very fast game, yeah.
And then SK with the 1 map win over NIP. And then going forward now, Liquid Space Soldiers on the mainstream, Astralis SK as well. Those are best of 3s where SK need to prove their worth.
Yeah. It was actually Config, interesting enough, was the one that was fighting tooth and nail as well to try and claw it through. He had his firm grasp on the rounds, but unfortunately he couldn't quite close it out. Yugi as well actually having quite a good performance, considering we haven't really seen him in a while because he obviously slowed down a little bit there for personal reasons, took a step back. It's going to be interesting to see how they fare against NIP.
Yeah, obviously he had the illness, didn't he, where he was off for maybe 6-7 weeks.
It's quite a long time, yeah.
Yeah, especially in esports as well. Didn't actually come and join the roster again. Himself and Snappy went over to OpTic now, and they formed this 5-man Danish roster. Going versus NIP, 2 big organizations, and one of them have to fall out already.
Yeah, very, very true. Some big dogs and some big names. But talking about dogs, who we do have coming up is going to be Greyhound versus Renegade. We actually have the veto for that as well, so we'll break this down.
Perfect. Let's take a look at it already. New coming out for the ban from Renegades. Expected to see the auto veto and Train again going to be banned up by Greyhound. We saw that versus Liquid. I thought, okay, maybe they're just banning that one because Liquid are good on Train. Seems to be their permaban. Coming into this, maps to expect. Cash could be on here. Mirage could be on here. Overpass as well, potentially. And here we have it, the picks coming through. So Overpass we picked up by Greyhound, and Cash as well by Renegades. So far, expecting picks, you know, Mirage is going to be a question mark as well going forward. Dust 2 as well could be interesting. Maybe the first Dust 2 of the tournament.
Yeah, that actually could be quite interesting to see if we do get something like that. But as of right now, Overpass and Cash, pretty standardized maps, pretty good. I think this bodes well as well, because this is more so going to be a bit of a domestic matchup between these two teams in terms of the region. But for what this means, this is going to be a huge battle. Obviously, Greyhound still got a lot to prove to try and see where they situate off the back of IEM Sydney and where they can really go with this.
Yeah, final map as well going to be Mirage. So Overpass with the first map picked by Greyhound, Cash picked by Renegades, and the final map 3, Mirage. So do you think we're going to be to a third mapper in this one, or do you think this is 50-0?
You know what? My heart is telling me it could go 3 maps. I feel like there's potential for the full 3 map, but I think that is going to be dependent on how well Greyhound play. Because, interestingly enough, yesterday, it seemed like they weren't really themselves in that first game we saw. It didn't really seem as coherent. So it seemed like they hit a bit of a mental brick wall and didn't really have as much adaptation as we saw at IEM Sydney.
It's true. I mean, one of the things I brought up time and time again was the idea of being a known quantity, right? Having the underdog status, catching teams off guard by surprise, and getting that first map victory, for example, in a best-of-3. The issue was here, coming in for Liquid, they knew they couldn't underestimate Greyhound, and it worked out in their favour.
Yeah, and it worked very well for them. Obviously, they were just able to do some dominant stuff. I mean, players like Twist were just popping off throughout that entire matchup. They were going wild.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the veto as well, when you look at these two teams, you know, on paper, Overpass, then Cash, then Mirage, we're thinking, okay, good maps here for Renegades. You know, when you look at the actual level of team that Greyhounds is, you could argue similar to an MVP, similar to, you know, that sort of level of CS. So, you know, if this was Renegades versus an MVP or a lower level team, we're thinking, okay, easy 2-0. But you have to factor in the derby status of this matchup. The fact that these two teams come from the same nation. You know, obviously now Renegades play in North America, but they're going to be studying the best teams coming out from Australia. Vice versa as well for Greyhound. They're going to be watching Renegades, you know, with a microscope essentially. These two teams know each other back and forth.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's a lot to play for. It's obviously the fact as well that now it's sort of 2 Australian teams that are really in the limelight there, more so now for Greyhound sort of breaching through and working their way back up. It's good to see more Australian teams sort of finally making their way back through again and getting into these bigger events. So obviously, Season 7 Pro League Finals, Greyhound, they want to try and make their mark. They've shown a little bit of what they can do, obviously. Upsets at IEM Sydney.
Yep.
Now can they get some consistency? If you've had a win over Renegades here, that would be lunacy.
Yeah, it seems like they always have one big win so far in these tournaments. The best-of-3 victory versus SK. Can they try and get a best-of-3 victory now versus Renegades and, you know, have that win over your domestic rivals? You know, it seems unlikely. We've seen that Renegades have a very strong track history versus domestic rivals. Immunity, if you remember, back with Spiley used to playing. You know, coming into those matches, it just never works in their favour.
Yeah, always obviously just struggles there when it comes to butting heads against each other. But still, in terms of that first map then, Overpass to kick us off between Greyhound and Renegades. What are your thoughts on this?
It is the map pick from Greyhound. I'm still thinking it's going to be 2-0 for Renegades. Potential for double digits here for Greyhound on this first map. Maybe a 16-12 or 16-13. But I believe the next map on Cash should be a fairly one-sided matchup, especially with how Liquid played yesterday on Cash versus Greyhound.
That's very true. It's also the fact that Renegades as well on Cash, they are quite a known quantity. You know what they can get up to, you know the amount of damage they can unfold, and that roster as well. It seems like in recent form, they've been just proving how much talent they really have hidden under themselves. Nifty had an amazing display, which was just phenomenal out of nowhere where we saw that be whipped out. You've also got players like JKS that can just pop off. Everyone on that roster has potential, but then you've got players like Dick Stacey, Gratisfaction, and everyone obviously. You've got a little bit of buzz around them. You've got that vibe coming up. You know there is actually firepower there, but it's not. Let's get underway. Greyhound are going to be your Ts. Renegade will be your CTs as we kick it off here on Overpass.
Dexter outside Monster right now as there's 2 CT players walking to his crosshair. He's going to be losing on the duel though as they do walk into his aim. And now early frags found here by Renegades.
Yeah, already early damage coming through as they start to pop heads. Ooh, it's a very quick pistol round. 3 of those frags being found by Jacob as he just punishes them all with that USP and wants to quickly wipe his way through.
Interesting enough as well, yesterday's matchup versus Liquid. Dick Stacey being the only player really delivering for Greyhound, and when you are the underdog story, you have to have more than one player really feeling it. Where's Gratisfaction with that op to have those impactful rounds? As I believe the UI is bugged.
Yeah, I was just looking at that then. I was going to say, what's going on? They've recruited a second JKS, and Azza's changed ships.
So there should be Malta there instead of Azza. And so there's 2 JKSs as well. I wonder which one's actually JKS and which one's...
Where's Azza?
Azza. Well, hopefully that gets fixed shortly onto the next map. We'll just glance over that for now. But round number 2, Renegades obviously winning the first round. The push through Monster, even though a player from Greyhound held that angle. lost out that duel, and when you lose that player towards Monster, when you're coming down connector, you lose that two-way split towards the B site. Meant they all walked into the crosshair from Jacob. Easy frags found, but minute 15 left on the clock here, Jack. All 5 players from Greyhound group towards middle as they walk in towards A.
Dick Stacey going to lead the charge. He's got the bomb, though. As he gets up close and personal, about a minute on the clock here, Snods, as they're just lying in wait. Azza going to be waiting to spray down with that UMP. Nifty as well is going to find a nice little tap back on towards Malta. Urcast just gets wiped out of the equation. A bit of a slower kill there coming through from Jacob in the end, but he does find the headshot on Dexter, and it all comes down to satisfaction, and he's not going to be too satisfied about how that round ends. Will fall to Ustillo. That's actually a clean sweep for Renegades there as well, which is going to be quite nice.
Yeah, nice for their economy going forward. We can already see $4,500 there for Ustillo, so the cash is going to start building, especially now when we factor in the full eco from Greyhound. An MP9 brought up by Malta. But apart from that, Jack, everything else is going to be Glock, no armor. Faction will have enough money to be able to afford the glass cannon AWP. Doesn't have the $3,000 in this round, where going into round number 4, he'll have 5.4k to afford armor and the AWP. So, Nifty getting information here towards middle. Going to spot no one here. It's going to allow for the rotations to come in now through connector towards the B site, as Greyhound are all grouped out here as well.
Oh, Jacob as well. He's actually been on the hunt for these frags, and it's been paying off quite well for him. That was a rapid round that just ends just like that. With a snap of your fingers, everyone's gone, and that's going to be 3 rounds for Renegade, so we really start to get into the actual action now, Snods.
Let's see then. The bread and butter of Counter-Strike, the buy rounds coming through now into round number 4. No AWP going to be invested into by Faction, so had the option to go for the glass cannon AWP, decided to go for AK full utility. Might mean they have an execution plan, a set round, a set piece that we're going to be seeing here. Maybe mid-control into a full execution towards the A site. As right now, Faction is towards the T stairs. Oof, a nice shot there from Urcast as well to start things off.
Yeah, bodes well, of course, obviously. First round, you've actually got those rifles out. You get the initial pick, because Renegades are allowed to play a little bit more loose with this. You can see the investment they've gone for. They've still got those SMGs. If they want to try and play a little bit of a scouting round and poke and prod against Greyhound to work out what they're going to be up to, they are allowed to.
Passive plays here from Renegade so far. Usually when we see players with the SMGs, they're getting aggressive in units. You know, a double push towards B short, for example, to gain information at the start of the round with those SMGs, but also get them up close where they are most effective. However, Nifty now with the MP9 pushing in towards toilets. We might be seeing a 3-man stack towards the B site if we see Renegades going for a gamble, as they do lack the firepower and the manpower as well. Down 4 versus 5. But now then, Jack. 40 seconds left on the clock, as we see JKS Jacob about to be tested.
Well, can the man that is savage go back to his old tricks? Dexter, though, actually going to be spicing things up a little bit as he pops 2 craniums clean off with some rapid taps, sprints his way up towards the bomb site as well, and going to hammer in those numbers to get it planted. So it is only Azza and Nifty that remain. Let's see if they can do something a little bit nifty into this one, Snots, as they're going to get up close and personal, slowly slide their way towards the opposition. Greyhound, they're in good post-plant positions. They can play for each other. They can defend each other here. And Dick Stacey is actually just going to take the fight straight towards him. Kills Nifty. Azza will be slain by Dexter. And there you have it. Once we get into the actual rifle rounds, Greyhounds pick it up. But now Renegades have a chance to buy back through, obviously. They went for the scout round. You add the SMGs out there. This is where they can instantly come back into the fold.
Pivotal round there from Dexter out through Monster. It looked like JKS or Jacob just walked into each other's crosshairs, or the crossfire from Dexter there coming out through Monster. Lined up both headshots with one single spray. Able to turn that into the 3 versus 3. Greyhound already taking the site. Oh, sorry, the 3 versus 2. Greyhound then taking the site. Once you had the advantage there, you know, one towards short, one towards water. Player back towards Monster as well for the bomb. And that's a very, very difficult round for Greyhound to lose. But they have won the first buy round, so they get their feet wet early. As now we see, once again, Greyhounds lent towards one half the map here. So far it's been 5 players towards Monster early on, very heavily stacked towards one side of the map, rather one-dimensional, but let's see if they can try and fake one half the map and keep Renegades guessing. But so far, aggression towards Monster here from the Aussies.
They're going to be pushing their way up. Malta Flashbang goes over. Does actually get the first frag though, but Stillo fires back through. Very low there as well as he transferred back on Dick Stacey, but Urcast, he's quick off the draw. He's like a cowboy as he sprints in, popping heads, taking down JKS. The Molotovs will be launched in as well as the bomb will go down. So now you're in a 4v2. That's a save call for Renegades. There's no chance really. Nifty can't afford to just throw away that AWP carelessly like this, and this is going to give them their second round. So Greyhound starting to get momentum. It's all coming together.
Great round again from Greyhound here. Jacob, Nifty pushing towards Monster with the AWP. They gained all the information they needed. JKS rotates from B towards the A site. And still, even with 3 players entrenched there from Renegades, Greyhound just steamroll through it. Landing those headshots, and a nice one at the end as well from Urcast. But extra frags being found here by Renegades. Yes, they're going to be denting the money for Greyhound, but they're still going to be happy to get to 2. Ooh, Jacob. 29 points of health. Within the smoke, Urcast unable to connect the shots there. So round number 6 here, Jack. 2-3, and Renegades. Maybe going to go for the eco here. They could force around the 2 weapons. Jacob could drop over an M4 to one of the players, and maybe JKS invests into a FAMAS. Nifty drops over a UMP. But seems like they're going to be going for the conservative approach here, Jack, and just save for round number 7. Allow Greyhound to get to 3 rounds, but also allow Greyhound to gain some money now. Dexter, Urcast, the only players that have some funds in their bank balance. This is a round now where they have to have a clean outcome. 4 or 5 players staying alive, build up some cash here going forward so they don't get reset if they lose round number 7.
Okay, well, they go for more of an aggressive style of CS here as well, Renegades, obviously. Try and go for a little bit of a push, rather, as they try and slip their way around. They do actually find the initial frags, I know. Everything's going down under at this time. Jacob and Nifty. Also now JKS armed as he finds himself an AK, but this is a double save now. You can't really go for this. Once again, you've just got to concede it and allow Greyhound to take the round. This equalizes the scoreline as well, Snot. It's going to bring us up to a 3-3 when we go back into round number 7. So this is good for Greyhound, actually. They've been able to capitalize against them, keep them on their toes as well. So Renegades are in a bit of an awkward position. It's actually lucky that JKS was able to find and retrieve that AK.
Indeed. Decent round from both teams. Greyhound, as I said, they need a clean round here. 4 players staying alive, so that's all good in my books. They're going to be able to build up their cash going forward and have some reserve funds in case they start losing buy rounds. And for Renegades, they keep their hands on the M4 from Jacob and the AWP from Nifty, plus an additional AK from JKS, which means you can drop that over to Azza or you still so they can buy extra utility. And we can start seeing some more Molotovs come out from Renegades, and therefore better versus executions to use to delay pushes. They can use those Molotovs to gain map control as well towards B shot if they needed to. A lot more now in the playbook from Renegades with the additional utility. As we see, the AWP now for Gradax faction. 4 AKs to round off the rest of the T-buy. And Nifty once again wielding the AWP, so going to be interesting to see. No double AWP setup coming out just yet from Renegades as the flash comes in towards middle for Stillo.
Spots it. Doesn't get too much of a read from that, though, as they haven't really played too aggressively. Greyhound are actually playing this one quite close to their chest in the early game with a default. So they just tiptoed their way up. See what reads they can actually get from this. Dexter, actually in quite a nice position already early on as he's been able to slide his way around, just listening out those audio cues. His teammates slowly repositioning as well. Still a minute and 20 left on the clock, Snod, so this could go either way.
Be short control now in the favor of Greyhound. But we see a very forward position from Stillo currently towards toilet, so Renegades have some good information about that. Nifty playing towards Banana. You can see he's peeking for the top of connector peak. If Malta eventually walks out through Con, we'll be walking into Nifty scope. Not a sight you really want to see. But so far, the slow default now from Greyhound. Definitely a different approach, as so far in their buy rounds, they've either stacked outside B, stacked outside A, haven't really shown too much map control. Renegades have been aggressive, they've gained information, but they haven't been able to capitalize off of it. Urkhouse, Dexter, landing 2 good headshots. But now we see Greyhound coming in now towards the B site. You still are crunching as well onto the T's as they swarm this B site.
Yeah, you've got the crossfire set up here with Jacob and Azza as well, so they try and thunder their way through as the damage is already done. And Dick Stacey tries to claw it back from the jaws of defeat, as actually you will find a double kill. Dexter as well now comes in for the capitalization, pulls the head clean off of JKS. Nifty gets his lips removed by Malta, and it all comes down to Stillo. In a 1 versus 3, that's another save. He's miles away from the action. He's not got any health, and he is just going to have to save this, meaning the Greyhound actually now take the advantage. So they get themselves a 4th round, and that was nicely played. It was smart. Dick Stacey as well with a huge comeback into the round there with that 2K as he pushed through Monster.
Once again, Renegades having the right aggression in the right places. You still are coming in towards Connector, spots up Mouter and Con. He pushed all the way through middle, spotted no one there. They had the information that Greyhound were grouping and getting ready to do a set piece towards the B site, but again, Greyhound and Dick Stacey this time towards Monster gets the double entry towards the B site. Wedges their way through, even though Renegades found the 2 early frags towards Monster. Dick Stacey turns it round to a 3 versus 3. And as we know, Greyhound so far have been phenomenal in their afterplants. But another buy in the hands here from Renegades after saving those weapons time and time again. Allows their money to not be debilitated so bad. But round number 8 here, Jack. 4-3 now. 1 round advantage for Greyhound. The underdogs so far looking good on their own map pick. But that's what we're expected to see. Strong fundamental CS, good set piece executions on their map pick, as they must have expected Overpass to come through the veto. So what have they got planned here? Are they more of an anti-strat sort of team where they're going to come in here with strategies and tactics they know they can counter Renegades with? Obviously, they know these teams at the back of their hands. Or are they going to try and stick to their own game plan and Overpass and see if that can take them over the finish line?
Well, an aggressive strategy towards long this time around starts as they actually push up quite rapidly, clearing the toilets angles and then getting up close and personal. He still goes for the jump face. Now, he's trying to get a bit of a read here, work out exactly what is going on. You can see the rotate coming round as well as they try and reposition to deal with this.
Really good B short control again from Renegades. Azza towards Connector, Nifty in towards B short with the orb. JKS still has to be worried towards Monster, but now they have the information that's forward. Push coming in towards Connector from Azza, so they can push in from behind, come back towards T-Stairs. Once again, Renegades with the right information. They know that Greyhound have to be outside Monster or outside the A site, one of those two. But they've given up banana control, and they've given up positions to where you can throw smokes. As they're now deployed towards the A site, we see once again another set-piece execution from Greyhound.
Oh, is it going to work out once again? The smokes are up, the line of sight and the vision for the CTs is definitely restricted and blocked, and Mouter will find himself a free frag as well. Gratisfaction going to be happy as he slays Jacob there, connecting that shot towards him. Once again, there's only 3 players remaining on the side of Renegades. Azza, the beast from down under, will be able to pop off a shot. Gratisfaction though, and lops his head clean off. Dexter ready to bludgeon him back though. That's actually quite a cheeky little shot, as he will leave him dead and bodied on the ground. Nifty, he's basically got to get out of there. He's got to run away. JKS as well has to follow the same suit and try and save this. He's going to hold on the closer angle though, play for the exit frags in case Greyhound get a little bit hungry. And they are going to push out like the bloodhounds they are.
5-3 then. Nifty, unable to save the orb. JKS as well. Goes for the reface, still wins the duel. Bit audacious there, but he will survive with the M4 into round number 9.
He's a bold man.
He is. Savage, by name.
And by nature.
Yeah. Tactical timeout here from Renegades. Do they buy? As obviously Steeler can buy for himself. JKS can drop over an M4. Azza could go for M4 Kevlar, no head armor, no utility. And that would mean, I don't know, Nifty or Jacob onto a UMP. So they could actually have a fairly decent buy here. But if they lose it, Greyhound get to 6. Renegades go to an eco. Greyhound probably get to 7. 7-3 advantage 10 rounds in would not be the sight Renegades want to be seeing. But, I mean, even in the last run as well, Jack. Good information towards B short. Az is pushed all the way through Connector, up the T-stairs, coming in from T-spawn. But Renegades, all they need is 1 or 2 frags towards that A site. A 3 versus 3, they wait for Az's flank. Az comes in from behind, finds 1 kill, finds a second, and the round's pretty much over and done with. But because Greyhound keep getting kills on these A sites and B sites, these flanks from Renegades mean absolutely nothing.
Yeah. The important factor is as well, Snods, right? This is a good start on the T side for Greyhound on Overpass. Now, Overpass is a map they need to win because Cash is going to be such a hard affair for them to actually tackle Renegades. If they can force this out to the 3rd map, though, that's when a win could potentially be on the cards for them. And Gratisfaction now comes through with that orb. He's able to snipe down JKS. He's a sniper with a hell of a scope, Snods, and he's going to start to punish a cop or 2.
Flash coming in outside Monster. Good flash, will blind off Gratisfaction momentarily. Dick Stacey, though, wormed his way out through Monster. Takes advantage of Azza now, as they know that Jacob has to be towards B short as he was putting frags there onto Dexter. From above them. Nifty. Oh, clinical shot there with the scout. Finds the head of Urcast. And now 3 versus 3, all squared up here.
That is just filth. And he's looking for more as well. By no means is he going to try and slow himself down. Nifty can be absolutely ferocious. Jacob. This is so smart. Tiptoes through the tulips as he gets up behind them, ready to just slay them and lay them out. Finds the headshot from Dick Stacey from quite a distance, but Mount will trade it back and do the same to him, leaving it into a 2v2. But the firepower advantage is massively stacked to Greyhound, but it doesn't matter, as Gratisfaction tagged down to just 30 HP now. He's limping around the battlefield, broken and bloodied, as if he peeks out the CZ will overpower him. Yustillo could win the round right here, and Nifty has the Overwatch angle. The support comes through as he cracks down on Malta and leaves him lifeless on the ground. That is going to be a 4th round now for Renegades, but by no means was it a dominant affair. That was so close, very down to the wire.
It was just a half buy from Renegades as well. Scout no Kevlar for Nifty. Yustillo with just a CZ as well. But Renegades working magic with that one saved M4 for Jacob. Flash over Monster. Gets the frag onto Malta. They transition that into an extra frag as well from the likes of Nifty Scout. They get the advantage. Nifty, though, going to be swapping out the Scout for the AWP. As we see most AWPers do that. 5 versus 4 then. Only 1 round separates these two teams. Nifty. First frag here towards a long. As Urcaster Malta might have such bad timing.
Oh, he's able to get the first frag. Nifty as well somehow turns on Malta there as he glided through, dancing his way along through toilets, and he still gets the flick shot off, Snods. He's a lunatic.
Yeah. Recent form right now for Nifty. He's unbelievable. There's a lot of strong AWPers actually coming up from a North American region. Cirque, Nifty. Going to be interesting to see how that does shape up with time. So we see 2 versus 4. Minute left on the clock here. Dexter up close towards the side. He's been so strong and pivotal for Greyhound at gaining these entries. But is it going to work this time?
Oh, Dexter with a timing bypasses Azza as he's flying, but eventually once his vision returns, he's going to be able to eliminate him. And it all comes down to Gratisfaction to clutch it in a 1 versus 3 now as he picks off the first man. Azza is down and out, but he's got so much more to do. The odds are stacked against him quite favourably to Renegades. Peers into the bank. He's going to see if he can make a withdrawal here, being able to punish anyone from Renegades. Scoped around, going for the peek up, but it's a little bit too slow on the flick back behind him as JKS was in the rear with the gear, and the Savage man will lay him out and tie things up 5-5 apiece.
5-5 for now, but it won't be for much longer. When you look over the buy now from Greyhound, $2,000 across the board. Bar Dexter at 3,000, Malta at 6,000 as well. He was the one that was dropped over those weapons earlier on. So he can drop over the AWP in the next buy round to Gratisfaction. And they can go for a full buy into round number 12, but not before they give up the lead they worked so hard to gain. Flash coming in towards middle from Nifty. He's still going to go for the information in towards middle. Spots the heads.
Cast Dick Stacey. Already losing around about 50 HP from either of them in the early rounds here, Snoz, as damage is done. Obviously, their Arsenal as well is going to be lacking a real kicker. The firepower is just going to be P250s. They're rocking the sidearms, really. 2 flashbangs as well. They go for a grouped play, flashbang each other in. Maybe there can be some complementary damage done. But Gratisfaction will be slain by Nifty, and everyone else is just being funneled into the meat grinder as well, as these Renegades players are not going down without a fight. Leaving it all on Dexter now in a 1 versus 4. JKS will glide around, traces him through the wall, finds the kill. And Renegades once again return to having the lead.
4 players surviving. Clean Antica there from Renegades. And now we start to see the bank building for the CT side. Nifty at $7,000. You still at 4,000. So they can afford a buy if they do lose this buy round. But the same cannot be said for Greyhound, as if he used every last penny in the bank. AWP for Gratisfaction was dropped over by Malta as expected. AKs and very strong utility as well to run off the rest of the buy. And with this extra utility, did they get back to the game style that was working for them, Jack? Grouping up, going for executions, and steamrolling their way through these sites with utility.
Going for a bit of a spam there towards Con, trying to see if he can find anyone that will be playing a bit aggressive. Nifty is playing from a more restricted angle further back, though, but it is quite a far up push here, especially from Yustillo, but he's fully blind, dazed and confused there. I had no clue about what was going on. And Urcast gets the opening pick, Snots. This bodes well, but will they actually be able to overpower Nifty? He's in a good angle. He's just holding the AWP. He's just waiting for them to come towards him, and he will try and slay. Finds the first with the little adjustment there onto Dick Stacey, bringing it back into a 4v4 with a minute left on the clock.
Jacob, off angle here, spots the gun barrel from Dex's AK, and has to drop him in as well. 4 versus 3. We have 50 seconds left on the clock now for both teams to work with. For Renegades, they have the extra manpower to use. The aggression from Jacob as well. Still holding W through towards T-Spawn. Gets the bomb, gets all the information now that Renegades require. As you can smoke it off, 30 seconds left. Now Greyhound at this awkward scenario where they have to gain the bomb control back. Try get onto the site, 4 versus 2 down. And with 20 seconds left, you could argue this is a save here from Greyhound.
Very possibly at this point. With just 2 of your players remaining, it's not really worth running the risk. You're not going to be able to go for anything too audacious here. If they can at least hold on to those weapons, they can carry the firepower over because their economy's in a bit of disarray. Gratisfaction has the AWP as well, and they've got a little bit of utility sprinkled between the 2 of them. It seems like they will be able to pull off this save as well. No real hunt coming out from Renegades. They're not going to overextend and try and go full John Rambo to find them.
Well, round number 13 here. 7-5, Renegades claim the momentum back into this matchup as expected. We said in the preface before this one we're expected to see a 2-0 on paper, but obviously you add in the nuance of both these teams being from Australia. But then again, actually, can you really delve too deep into that? Renegades play from North America now, Greyhound still domestic back where they're from in Australia. So in terms of, practice and knowing these guys in and out at the back of the hand, can you really have that same sort of illustration as, say, an OpTic or Astralis, where they're all from Denmark, where it's all domestic? Not really. Because right now, the difference of caliber between these teams is really starting to show. Oh, I actually like the way Gratisfaction peeks there. He checks for the boost towards Banana before he goes for the peek towards the stairs. Nice little detail there. Attention to detail, should we say, just in case there was a boost from Renegades. Those can be the sorts of things where Greyhound do their homework on overpass against Renegades, expecting those sorts of boosts towards Banana, be short maybe by the sandbags, and they can try and adjust their game plan to accommodate that. But 5 versus 4, Jacob the first frag once again been so strong towards that B site and gained so much map control and presence and advantages in favour of the favourites.
A little bit of utility being used there. One smoke, one Molotov chucked out towards toilets to try and slow down this potential push that's going to be coming through from Greyhound. Now, they've pulled out the stopcock. They've made their mark on the map as they are going to be aware of what is going down. They swarm in. The Greyhound killer bees are flying their way through the air to try and bombard this attack on the site. Gratisfaction as well with a nice little shot. Pixel sniffing as he finds that one. Finds the second as well. Trying to go for these no-scopes. He's tapping down, but he's still with a flank. Will be able to slay him. And Jacob comes through to clean things up as 2 players get punished and Renegades get themselves an 8th round.
What's happened to Greyhound here in the latter portions of this first half? From a 5-3 advantage versus a half-buy from Renegades, Pistol Scouts. We're expecting to see a 6-3 advantage and maybe make it even more as well to 7 if they broke the money from Renegades. But it seems like all Renegades needed really was that 1-round push to send them in the right direction. Peek from Nifty now towards middle. Spots the cross. Didn't see the bomb though. Dick Stacey drops that towards the T-stairs before he crosses. Doesn't give over the info that Greyhound are going to be going towards the A site potentially. As we go back to more of a default style of play. Greyhound, 2 outside Monster. 1 towards Connector this time, holding Faraz's push. 2 towards the A site, but they're playing very passive here. Are they going to try and take back B short control from JKS? And of course Jacob. Are they going to try and take A control, smoking out front toilets, Molotov in the banana stairs, going in towards A long? But let's see, because if they keep playing passive like this, surely it can't work in their favour.
Slow and steady wins the race here. Towards the B site, it's quite an aggressive pushed up defense from Renegades. They were playing for the more close short control, but JKS, it always pays off for him anyways. He's going to be able to just backhand slap 2 members down from Greyhound. Leaving it up to Dick Stacey, Gratisfaction and Malta, the trio that remains, Snods, but is there anything there they can really chip away from Renegades into this one? What leeway do they have left to play with?
Well, they have no map control. Jacob's pushed towards B. He knows that they have to be towards Connector or the A site. The only issue here for Renegades is if Greyhound go through Con to B shore in towards this B bomb site, but Azza's still here.
And Azza is going to bring the thunder as he peeks up. Gets that initial frag. Gratisfaction now just trapped between a rock and a hard place and a really, really hard place as everyone is around him. He's trapped from all angles as he's going to try and sprint away. finds the flick there on towards Azza, prepared for the second, but the timing might not work out for him. Actually gets out of there before being shot down, but they are so close. Jacob on the hunt, finds that kill, poaches himself up by the Bunny Club, and tries to get himself through to the next round, which he will do so.
Vibes with the AWP for the last round, so they will have that at least in their arsenal. What else are they going to be able to afford here? UMP for Malta, SMG as well with the MAC-10 onto Dexter, 2 AKs for Dick Stacey and Urkas, so AWP, double AK, double SMG buy now from the underdog Greyhound team here in their domestic rivalry. As we enter the final round of the half, Renegades, of course, have money soaring through their bank balance right now, so they're going to be able to go for the 4x, even Deagles as well as their secondary weapons. As Malta through the Molotovs, the fire and the flames, wood in the SMG, trying to go for the run-and-gun-esque style of play. But Renegades aren't stupid enough to hang around too long.
They're pushing up, they're playing close. He still gets contact, gets the read, and they actually do swarm in. They're going to fight him one by one. They're just offering themselves up like some kind of suicide squad as they push in. Ustillo is just spraying his way through. Dick Stacey gets one, tries to adjust for the second, but it's too slow, and he gets taken down. A fast free frags come in there at the end, and that is going to be a 5-10 scoreline in favor of Renegades. Greyhound, it was a good start. You could see there were moments of cohesion. They had the right ideas, but towards the end there, Renegades back on form. And I think a lot of that as well comes down to the fact that Jacob was playing such a loose style of CS. He was always where they didn't expect him to be, always getting opening frags, or even in situations where there was a slight chance still for Greyhound, he'd get a backstab. He'd turn it all wrong.
Always where they didn't expect, but surprised I didn't expect it more considering he pushed B short nearly every single buy round.
Yeah.
But Greyhound didn't do anything in return. If you know that the CT side is pushing B short every single time, take something back. Play aggressive towards the A side. Smoke out front toilets. Take banana control. Take A long control. Smoke the bottom of A long. Force the CTs back onto the A side default. So they have no idea where you are on your T side and you can stay in the shadows essentially. But can Renegades send Greyhound 6 feet deep into the shadows, it seems? Can they send them down under?
Oh, Dick Stacey is going to make Ysillo go sleep in with the fishes as he finds the initial headshot. Thinks him down to 5 HP though, so he's not really in a great position. And Nifty will slam dunk onto Urcast, bring it back to a 4v4. But Dick Stacey's still fighting through. He might have no HP, but he's still got confidence, and so does Malta as he slams down. Peels back the scalper, Nifty. Gratisfaction from the elevated angle. Punish Azza, and it's all on the big man himself. Justin Savage to see if he can stave it. Dexter on 1 HP. Gratisfaction going to push him, but they're all offering themselves up as sacrifice. JKS with a triple kill with a Glock. What an absolute beast.
Peeking in one by one in that scenario towards B short. There's a Deagle on Malta. Great up close if you can land the double tag with the Deagle, but no Kevlar means his crosshair is going to be sent soaring into the skies with the aim punch. 11-5 now, the 6-round advantage in favor of Renegades, and that second half pistol may be the defining blow here to make this one a quickie. Round number 17, SMGs, AKs, Khalils, rifles, everything, utility, you name it, all in the hands of Renegades. As Greyhounds, the best they can field here is Deagle Kevlar for Dexter, CZ Smoke and Kevlar as well for Urcast. Gratisfaction, not even going to invest into a Deagle here, just going to keep it at $1,800 so we can go for an AWP, Kevlar, and buy a Smoke flashbang. Minute 30 left on the clock here. Default towards A-long as Renegades as they go for the typical anti-eco on overpass.
Ooh, Dexter as well. Already slumped down to 34 HP there. He's looking for a kill with a Deagle. He was hoping he might be able to get at least a tap off, and Azza is tagged down to 47 HP at the very least. It's something. That wasn't actually done by him as well, and this is the fact now that Jacob, he's been allowed to push up because of the early damage. He's had to fall back. He can't really hold the angle. They're going to be starved for info here. Renegades, they get a little bit of free reign in terms of map control.
Already up towards A-long. Jacob peeking with the SMG, just going to be clearing out the close angles here towards A-long, towards toilets. Renegades now, they can smoke the CT stairs, smoke off bank, molly out towards the truck as well if they need to, flash over, get those SMGs up close, get those SMGs into positions where they can find cash.
Pushing their way through, Ysillo unloads with the MP7 and gets 1 kill. Jacob as well, going to take down another and a further man as Malta is just slain from a distance. Urcast, the outcast, the only one trapped on the site, but he couldn't get out of there, was in an awkward position with such low HP. It was just easy for them to finish him, and that's now 12 rounds for Renegades, and the lead's just substantial.
It's already substantial, but it's going to get astronomical here. Eco for Greyhound, which means we're expected to see a 13-5 scoreline. 8-round deficit now for Greyhound to claw themselves back from before they tire. Once again, SMGs for Renegades. They can charge in, get kills with those submachine guns, stack up the cash, $600 a piece. And not only be advantageous in terms of the rounds, but get a monetary lead as well, so they can afford buys, even if they start losing buy rounds versus Greyhound.
Ooh, Dexter. He will get that kill actually back onto Azza there, and damage is done. Trades from either side, but JKS, he's armed with an AK, and he's going to be able to slay. Dick Stacey barely holds on as the push comes through. They actually do take it quite close to the mark there. Renegades get through that round with 2 players surviving. That's 3 casualties, but still, they find success in the round, and that is the important factor, because cash right now doesn't matter. Finding frags doesn't really matter. It's going to be rounds that is the only thing Greyhound need to clutch onto and need to get in droves, Snods. As the buy comes back through, we finally see Gratisfaction going to be able to get the AWP out. They've got the investment. They've got M4s on this CT side, but what do we see from them now?
Flash in from middle. Maybe we're going to be seeing some aggression here and see if Greyhound can find some confidence, as they've now been winded again for a second time running in this second half. Leg does land at least onto Ysillo, I believe. But as we saw earlier on from Greyhound, Dexter was a linchpin essentially, towards that B side for gaining entries for Greyhound. And now he's really taken out the equation early on, only 20 seconds into the round. That's one of your big performing players gone. Dick Stacey's still here though, but he's going to be towards the A site. And that's the site Renegades aren't heading towards currently. 5 players still alive here for the favourites as they charge up towards B.
Ooh, Arcas gets the initial kill, but there is a trade back from Jacob. But Gratisfaction, he's in a good position with the AWP. Actually, he's getting tags out. Melter plays on the close angle by the smoke from Monster, and he's allowed to keep that rolling through as he finds 3 quick frags there with the M4. Brings the ruckus down upon him and leaves Renegades in the dust. That is going to be another round now for Greyhound. Finally, they pick one up, and that's when they actually get their first full buyout. That was the only time they've actually had rifles on their CT side now. But can they keep it going?
Well, can they? They're going to need to. They lose this round, they get their round loss bonus sent back to $1,400. Then it's 14-6. They have no cash to work with. You know, UMP scouts, essentially. The game would be, on paper, done. But you never know what those pistols can do. So, HE grenade goes in, lobbed over and does 36 HP damage down against Nifty's health. Renegades stack 5 players lent towards the A site. JKS this time not going to be Azarin towards Connect. It was Gratisfaction. Wood in the AWP towards the banana position, hoping he can find another player walking through like last time with Ustillo. But instead, Renegades far more trepid, far more anxious about giving away frags to this AWP, as they're now flashing the angles and playing more methodical.
They're up close and personal though. Renegades once again towards toilets, looking to see if they can mop up this situation, but Dexter finds the initial frag. He's still a burst back through. He got him so low there as well. 9 HP is all he had remaining after he picked off Dexter. It's into a 4v4, but the health advantage is stacked in the hands of Greyhounds. Can actually just find these frags though. They can play for these crossfires. They're into a good position. They're holding quite far back and just waiting for the push to come towards them, but Renegades, what are they going to get up to? That's a nice tag as well from JKS. Goes for the spam through the wall and connects onto Urkas, bringing him down to 63 HP starts. About 33 seconds left on the clock now, so the get-go has to come soon.
Gratisfaction. Critical miss there towards toilets. Lobs at the Molotov, and a good Molotov as well. 20 seconds left, and the bomb can't cross yet. Has to come back through Monster. Sorry, Banana. As now they charge in towards the site. 3 versus 2.
JKS has shanked Justillo for no reason. It's not gone well. This could actually just fluff the entire round potentially here, because Nifty, he's not got time. He had to just sprint straight onto the site. He's been slain by Urcast. What's going on there?
Not sure, mate. That was strange.
I didn't even know where JKS was
running
to shank
up.
him.
Yeah, he was running up, holding his knife. No one's in front of him. Someone just charges past him, speeds past, and walks into the crossfire. Collateral damage.
Oh.
Oof. Well, shanks aside, into the guns now. It's going to be an eco from Renegade. It's just going to be the P250s, Glocks, no Kevlar, not even any utility as well, so there's not going to be any flash bursts to charge onto a site. But the main goal here from the Aussies, I say the Aussies, both of them are Aussie. Main goal here from Renegades is to gain the bomb plant.
Yeah, this could actually be a lifeline for Greyhound as well because of this now. So they're all just going to be running into the meat grinder. It is Dexter. They walk straight into his laboratory, and he shuts them down. Now, 3 men remain for Renegades. They have 1 M4 between them all, and they give him the JKS. He is a bit bloodthirsty, as he proved in that prior round, so let's see if he can do too much with it. Taken down by Dick Stacey, though. Ustillo, now armed with the AWP, that he grabbed off the corpse of Gratisfaction. But they've still got to get some picks. They brought it down into a 2 versus 3, sure, but it's going to be hard, especially when Ustillo is dunked on, blown out of the server there. Dick Stacey with the drive-by kill on Jacob, and Greyhound get themselves an 8th.
26 frags after 21 rounds being played out here for Jacob. On trial with the Renegades roster. It's been a few months now already, so you could be seeing maybe 4 months left on that contract. So really trying to prove his worth onto his roster, and I think that's actually a good way to go about things. When you have those long, arduous 2-year-long contracts where players are on, well, not say ridiculously high salaries, but very high salaries, does motivation slowly, taper off and dwindle? What happens when you have performance-based contracts like this one here with Jacob, where he has to perform? Otherwise, he could get the boot in only a few months to come. But anyway, enough of that, enough of speculation, and into what's intrinsically true. And that's going to be a 4 versus 4 on the B side here from Renegades. So they can smoke towards bridge, get the bomb planted, but they have the flanker from behind. That's Dexter for Greyhound.
Yeah, Dexter actually gets that kill as well. Going to capitalize as he picks JKS to pieces. Jacob goes down as well from Dick Stacey, and it's all up to Ustillo. He's left in a 1 versus 3, and it's Going to be a bit of a hard position to be in, but JKS won it before. Let's see if Greyhound are going to work as a team this time, or if they'll peek one by one. Smoke goes down. You can block off that angle from short. In terms of utility, they've got one HE. They've still got another smoke. Oh, but straight through the smoke. It doesn't matter. Yustillo, it's like Daredevil right now as he's finding these kills, but they will get the round overall. And that's what's important for Greyhound.
Yustillo spamming through the smoke, had the angle towards the bomb lined up. He got a frag through the smoke. He obviously anticipated that was the bomb, that was the player that was defusing the bomb. But instead, was just the AWP got his faction that hit the deck. Second tactical timeout called now by Renegades. We go to a 13-9 scoreline. Only 4 rounds now separating these two teams as Greyhound have found momentum into the second half. How much of it was predicated from the actual team knife from JKS? Not sure if it would have made too much of a difference as his teammate was very, very low.
The only thing with it was, though, is just the fact that it seemed to cause a bit of commotion.
Yeah, they're so confused.
They looked very confused, and it all kind of went a bit wrong, because then obviously you get that left in that situation where you did have manpower. Now you've got no one left. You've got 20 seconds. You had to just sprint up on the site. They could have got the bomb down. Maybe there could have been more chance. That round was pivotal for their economy, Snots. That's the reason why, no matter what happens there, it's left them a bit of a dire spot.
In terms of dire spots, Renegades once again unable to field a strong buy here. It's going to be a half buy of utility and pistols. So buying utility means they probably have a set game piece here. Maybe the Astralis be short smokes, smoke off bridge, smoke off the center site, and flash through. And here they come.
Cast up close and personal, laying him out as he starts giving them digs as they push towards him. Mouter as well, going to fire through with the M4 though. Cast unleashes upon them. Nifty! As soon as he grabs an AK, this man starts to slay. As he just picks everyone to pieces. There already 3 of them have hit the DECK. There's only 2 that remain. Nifty. Is he going to be giving us another IEM Sydney performance as he looks to punish the final 2 remaining members of Greyhound and put them down? Tiptoes his way up. He's got a minute left on the clock here. Dubious. Expecting potentially a short face to come round, but Dexter and Gratisfaction, they're grouped up together. Their pockets are lined deep to a utility. They've got a lot to play with. And he's going to push up, try and go for the bomb plant. The angle is scoped in, but Gratisfaction, he's just looking for this face. That's all he wanted. And Nifty will gift it to him. Greyhound get themselves the 10th round now, 3 away from equalising the scoreline as we go into round 24.
Saw there from Nifty, trying to see if he could find any players towards CT. There was no one towards Heaven, no one towards the site. Maybe Renegades, or sorry, maybe Greyhound were, grouped up as a 2-man unit towards B Shore, towards Monster. Potential there for Nifty just to creep up CT lower, go towards the A site, and try and get that bomb down. But instead, Gratisfaction still towards CT lower, didn't overface, waited for the bomb plant, but got something even better. A wild Nifty walking into his crosshair. So in those situations as well, Jack, the first 3 frags, you could argue, are a lot easier than the last 2.
Yeah.
When you have the opposition overfacing with just foreboding confidence, can be easy to line up those headshots, but there were some nice shots there. And that's that. Just the glimmer of what's to come here for Renegades in terms of their performance here, following IM Sydney, showing a rise in terms of their stock, and maybe we can see them challenging the best. Double play towards a long here from Greyhound. Whenever you do this as a team, you have to have backup early from your B rotator. Player towards Heaven, player towards CT low that can go and cover Banana as soon as you know that Renegades are up towards middle, because they've given up a lot of room here. We haven't seen Dexter push A long yet, even though there's lots of nades going on towards middle. At what point do they get aggressive?
Face comes around, Yustillo just walks straight in. Dexter there goes down. Gratisfaction will get the trade back onto Yustillo, sure, but it's into a 4v4 already, Snods.
Yeah, good rotate from Dick Stacey. He was the B rotator who's here already before Renegades could be up Banana. Ooh. So this strat's actually working out quite well. They have the rotations in place, and the frags landing as well.
Gratisfaction as well, showing off those bowling skills as he underarms that one in. It's a strike on Azza and takes him down to 69 HP. Dick Stacey's favourite.
Indeed. 20 seconds left here. Renegades coming through connector. Oh, gosh, each second as well. Really reduces the chances here, like percentages for Renegades to win the round. 10 seconds left, and not even onto the site yet.
Yeah, finally arrived, and Destiny is here. Damage being done. Azza and Jacob, he's got to get this bomb down now. If they deny it, it's over. They'll be able to find the frag. The round is done and dusted. Gratisfaction was in the clear as he was far enough away. JKS would never have a chance of spotting out his noggin. and taking him down. And that is an 11th round for Greyhound. This is getting closer and closer by the minute. And Renegades, they opt to go for that final pause. They need to hash it out. They've got to work out what's going on. And they need to adapt quick, Smarts, Nods, because they're running out of time now.
They used their remaining timeout, 13-11. They previously had the 13-5 scoreline, so far they've lost 6 in a row. They need to lose another 5 if they do go down 0-1 in this best of 3. Look at the money for Greyhound as well. You've just seen the underdog team here win 6 rounds in a row, yet no player on the side of Greyhound can actually fall by if they lose 1. It's really a testament to how close these rounds have really been. 1 versus 1s, 1 versus 2 when we think about, you know, JKS in the last round of 1 versus 1, you still lose 1 versus 2. Many rounds that were just so close down to a knife's edge, but they always favoured Greyhound. And the issue is here for Greyhound, yes, the momentum's in your favour, the comeback's been great, but look at their money. If they lose 1 round to Renegades get to 14, they could be losing out 16-11 very easily if they get reset.
Faction as well, playing with confidence now, as he actually goes for the all-out balls to the walls, peeking towards mid and gets the initial frag with JKS. He's up short. That will be quite a tall and large play. Finds that headshot on towards Malta. Cast as well, only on 5 HP, Snuds. And there's still 1 minute and 20 left on the clock. I mean, this has been rapid.
Yeah, rapid indeed. Already action back and forth, and there's still 1 minute 15 left on the clock. As Nifty, led by Jacob, push through Monster. Good trade flag found as the smoke comes down towards default. And now we see the pushing towards the B side from Renegades.
Nifty. This man can be an absolute unit. He's in the right position. Let's see if it's going to be going down today, though. 3 versus 3, but the health advantage is massively stacked in favour of Renegades. Dexter and co just waiting for the push to come towards them. But Justillo plays it smart, plays it tactical. Silent Assassin will get 1 frag before he's detected and eliminated. Urcast has only 5 HP. So it's all about the element of surprise for him. He can't really go for a upfront face. He's got to play this tactically. Listen out, play off the audio cues, and see if he can capitalize with potentially a backstab here once this bomb is going down. Nifty's there to support as well, though. JKS just slowly adjusting over. It just depends on the timing. They've still got 25 seconds. You can see as well, actually, Gratisfaction trying to force the peek out to come towards him, but JKS kills Urcast instantaneously. Gratisfaction just holding the angle. If Nifty crosses back, maybe he can get that initial frag, but right now he's just bobbing and weaving, holding from the site. He's going to float like a butterfly and probably punish like a bee if he can actually get round the angle, but Gratisfaction finds it. In a 1v1 now, Snots. Smoke goes down on the bomb. Wants JKS to force the face. Tries to tap the bomb to cause him to come in, and he gets it. Gratisfaction slaps him down. A 4K to his name. And a saviour he is. An absolute godsend, as that gives him a 12th round. They're 1 away from taking it to a 13-13. I mean, this is a tight matchup.
Gratisfaction just spots the shoulder blade there from JKS as he jiggle spotted towards Monster. Knew exactly where he was, taps the bomb, forces the face from JKS. JKS obviously does not anticipate Gratisfaction to be holding that angle. Knew that he saw him towards B short, but instead, Gratisfaction brings home the good. Brings home the good? Bring home the goods. As it goes, 12-13. Another buy round coming up from Renegades, though, as they are on the maximum round loss bonus. You add in the additional bomb plant money as well, so they can afford a decent buy. I say decent is very good. No warp, though, for Nifty, which can be a crucial part of their T side especially. And the utility is strong as well. They have smokes, they have grenades to take map control. They can go for an execution as well if they wanted to. Or they can leave it all down to aim, pure skill, if they want to try and go for a fast set play. Or lack of set play, fast, loose style play. Let's see, flash comes in, Gratisfaction is the fullback.
Yeah, Gratisfaction just going to backpedal out there. Get himself into more of a nicer angle. Quite a little pixel angle there, but he will actually just readjust. Here comes the swarm as well, actually. They're just going to push up. That nade is nice. Transfers damage onto 2 players. Dexter already removed. Flashbang over the site, but Gratisfaction's vision is still crystal clear. Lobs out a molly to slow down the initial push. Gets a frag as well. Justillo is going to be slumped out. Looks for more. Takes down Nifty. Nothing too crazy coming through from that man today, as it is just JKM to get obliterated. JKS as well. It all comes down to him, but he hasn't got a chance in hell. Punished by the MP9. The SMG prowess in close range overpowers him. 13-13. It's all tied up. It's all to play for.
8 rounds, 1 in a row now for Greyhound. They brought it back when we were writing them off, Jack. 13-5 down. We thought, okay, second half has gone in favor of Renegades. Now we can see their pedigree, their experience really start to shine on the international stage. But no. This might be an international tournament, but it's a domestic matchup currently in no one's favor.
Right now, if anyone's the pedigree, it's going to be Greyhound, mate.
Ah, nice. Little Croft stroke there.
Yep. Push coming in, though. Let's see how they're going to get judged for this one, if they're going to become in first place, as the damage is done. Two of them already executed, looking for a little bit more, as it just comes down to Jacob and Nifty. They've only found one kill, make it two, as from a distance, that pistol will punish Urkas. He's got good prowess with it. He knows how to back himself up. Bold claims from Jacob as well, though, as he gets very close to potentially his own demise. But he's on a roll right now as Jacob. He's got a 4K. He's slaying everyone that dares to defy him. Switches out to the AWP. He's playing gun game as he gets that frag in the end. What is going on?
How many frags is it now? 30? 33 kills so far for Jacob into this matchup, the driving force between these two teams, as Renegades, after losing 8 in a row, finally find success, but pulled out from a stellar play from Jacob. Can you really, put money on that? Is it going to happen again? Another crazy stellar ace from Jacob. Can they really expect that time and time again to push them over to 16?
The thing is, though, Snods, they might not need to. Greyhound, they've been in such a struggling position in terms of their economy. Now they're broken. They're left out on the streets.
Yeah, have to play for OT. So they are going to be saving. Just P250s, no Kevlar, no utility, USBs across the board as well. As we see, Greyhound pushing in towards B short. They're going to have the info now that Renegades are situated towards the A side, but it may be too late. If they start losing bodies early, it's going to be a snowball effect now with the AKs from Renegades.
Gratisfaction, no AWP. At least he's got a P250, knows how to punish with it, gets the first kill, switches out to the AK. Is he going to be able to slay? No, that is going to be the answer. Goes down to Jacob once again, the big dog himself, but Dick Stacey from the rear, sniping down with a P-shooter, the USB headshot on Nifty. Jacob rearms himself with the AK-47 and paints himself a pretty picture, as he is an artist with that Kalashnikov. Takes him down. 15 rounds now for Renegades. 1 is all they require to pick up the victory here, and that's got to be soul-crushing for Greyhound.
I believe the quote-unquote world record for the most frags is set by Config, I believe. 42 was in regulation. In an online ECS match or a Pro League matchup. But this is on LAN. So I'm not sure what the record is on LAN for the most kills in regulation. Maybe Flame as well.
Didn't Nifty set the new record at IEM Sydney with that monster performance?
It was 50 in overtime.
Yeah. Oh, it was overtime.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why then.
Because he was only 5 frags in the first half. They were down 11-4, I believe.
Yeah.
Anyway.
From wild.
Yeah, crazy. They might need similar performance here if they want to try and avoid OT, which could get hairy. But Renegades here on their T side. So far they've been struggling. They've required massive rounds from Jacob. An ace in the first round they won to break the hot streak from Greyhound. And a 3K in the last one. Ooh, but if their star player goes down early, how will Renegades recalibrate themselves?
Well, the answer is we're going to have to see, because he is going to be traded out. Gratisfaction will get the pick back on with the M4. Leaving him a 4v4 here. So every round for Greyhound now is a must. They have no safety net. They've got no protection, no insurance. They've been given the wrong type of ladder, Snods.
55 seconds left then. Renegades, 3 Monster. JKS alone towards B short as now they shift through Monster. And this might be the winning play here. Just a FAMAS, 1 flashbang deployed, but no presence, no prowess or any confidence here from Greyhound. They give up the site for free, and Mountain is caught in transition, going back towards CT lower. This should be it.
Yeah, this should be game, but let's see as the damage is done. It just comes down to Urcast and Big Dick Stacey, the boys on the Greyhound side, try to clutch it out. Dick Stacey gets one as he's looking pumped, finds the second as well, and it just comes down to JKS. Maybe Dick Stacey might have just saved it for him. Gets slain in the end though, punished, and Urkas, he's so low, he's only got 12 HP. JKS is just waiting for the push, swings wide. A simple headshot's all he requires, and that is a 13-16 scoreline. Greyhound, they kept it close, but they couldn't quite do it.
Well, what a pleasure to watch there. We thought we were writing off Greyhound, 13-5 down. They won't be able to come back into it. We thought, okay, fast, swift 2-0. We're expecting the 2-0. I think I said a 16-12 or a 16-13, then like a 16-6 in the next one, right? We got there in the end, but is that Greyhound showing us all they have? And I think so. I'm not sure if the next map being Cash is going to be quite so close, even though Greyhound showed some, resurgence, a new lease of life there when they showed better form.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to transition into the next map.
The thing is, for me, that makes it so just a sad affair is because if they would have got the win here on Overpass, that's when actually you've got the storyline where they could take this in a 2-1 potentially if they have a tremendous performance on the final map. But Cash is going to be so hard for them, Snods. We saw how they played against Liquid. It seemed a little bit stagnant. I mean, they seemed flustered. And against Renegades as well, they're a team that can just go wild. And if Jacob keeps playing like he is, God help him.
Bringing out the old UKCS memes. Gotta love it. This round as well from JKS. The 1 versus 3. Greyhound gonna be kicking themselves watching that one back. Mounter on the CT side buying a Deagle. Had no Kevlar. Aim punch there as he went for the peak. So many questions that are still left unanswered here. What if Greyhound found better form? Maybe they were nervous, had land just coming into the first matchup with all the pressure. Not on their shoulders. Obviously the pressure's from Renegades to win. They have to win.
Yeah.
But maybe Greyhound expected more.
Well, the thing is, that's 2 rounds right there in recent memory that could have changed this entire game if you think about it. You've got the second half pistol there, where all of a sudden there was just dominance found by JKS. They pushed in 1 by 1. They were staggered. They didn't really play as a unit. I mean, they had utility. They had the firepower. They should have been able to win that, but they didn't. And then this is the other round as well, where we had just damage coming out from Jacob, and the fact that Jacob was able to get that entire ace, where he basically played gun game, trading out a weapon each time for each frag, was just ridiculous.
It can't be understated, the real impact, not in terms of frags, but the numbers as well on the scoreboard.
Oh, yeah.
38 frags in regulation from Jacob, so that 6-month contract may go longer.
Yeah, he's definitely keeping that stock on the up and up. He's improving. He's looking fantastic there as well. He's gelled well with the rest of the squad, and in terms of his individual skill, it's always been tremendous. So wonderful to see him playing like that. But that is the first map done and dusted. However, do not fret. There is more to come. It's a best of 3. Cash is going to be the second map. Snods, you still thinking this is going to be a 2-0?
Yeah, I reckon 16-8, 16-9, let's see.
Well, let's see how this one is going to go down after the break.
Naf can get something done. He's out in no man's land, though, and he's been blinded. Now they know exactly who he is, and he's got a scout. Perhaps the worst weapon possible, but he makes it work. 2 headshots. Oh, it's the hurt Naf! He's done it!
Gets the opening pick. Is it enough to Dupree? Ready on the lower ramp, looking for a stun. He gets it, could get even more. This is brilliant from Dupree as he gets the ace spray down with the AK-47.
Any weapon he can take away at this point is perfect. There's one. Goes for the second, transfers the headshot on. Now he's got the bomb and a chance, but only 1 HP. This would have to be miraculous for Rush to convert this round, and Ustilo and Oz are going to come in from the flank.
Yeah, 1 HP. He's going to go back for the peek down. Banana, 2 players. Oh, Rush, that's the third. And now it's just Ustilo. How on earth has he managed this? Ustilo's flanking up through Banana and Rush. He's going to hide away. Here's the footsteps. Has an idea as to where Ustilo is. Ustilo, as the smoke, is going to go ahead and throw it on the bomb. Rush peeks out, and Rush is going to do it. 1 HP. Cloud9, they win this first map.
Tarek Rush combining for 1 each, and he's actually getting 2 Grim right there. Had to switch out to a Glut now. Getting another one, and a 4th one from Grim, and a 5th one from Grim as well. Absolutely amazing play.
Smoke goes very deep. Simple will absolutely welcome himself to that. He always does, and he does it in style again. Zontara's and Engine go down. Simple certainly capable of this, but a challenge nonetheless as he goes out. Alex quickly scooped up, just gets around the corner, and thank you very much for firing the shots, Major. I now know exactly where you are. Obviously speaking from Simple's perspective, but I'm not quite as good as him because I probably would have missed that shot. He did not.
The fact that he is getting 4 kills in this round after his teammates, a massive blunder there on that arch side, dropping the bomb, going down through the smoke to Calix. With the lifeline Na'Vi need. Ooh, waiting, no idea where Paz is. He's creeping in, he's way into the bomb side, jumping up on the box. Simple's got the advantage. As he swings around, he's going to find the headshot. Simple with the ace to get Na'Vi back in this half.
And welcome back, everybody, here to the ESL Pro League Season 7 Finals. Obviously in wonderful, sunny Dallas, where it's amazing stuff. We're not, of course.
We're not, of course.
But,
not quite as sunny here in Poland, but can't be too jealous.
No, it's true. It's still nice days. Obviously, the wonderful studio is still it's a good temperature.
When we see the day,
it's very true.
We leave in the night and we come in the morning, but
them time zones.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all been good so far. Poland's a good place to be, actually. I quite like it here. Cheap food, good food as well. Company's good with yourself as well. And so far, I've had some great matchups.
Yeah, you're a pierogi boy. I've seen you eating too many. Every day, just hammering down pierogi. That's all he does. Bloody hell. But should be a great second match up, really, here with the, obviously, Renegades versus Greyhounds. First matchup, in terms of that map, it went really the distance. It was good to see. It looked like Greyhound had a good start, obviously off on the right foot, slowed down a little bit towards the middle portion. Then they just bounced back on that second half. They woke up, they came in strong, just dominance being done, but the caveat was Jacob. He was just too much to handle.
Crazy, wasn't he?
A knockout performance there for Renegades.
Yeah, what if they don't have Jacob there dropping nearly 40 frags in regulation to weather the storm that was Greyhound, finding momentum finally. You know, 13-5 down, winning, what was it, 8 rounds in a row, 13-13. Obviously, the same narrative, all these Cinderella stories not quite panning out to how they expected to be. They let it slip versus a half-buy, CZ, scouts and whatnot at 13-13. And of course, an ace from Jacob, switching out weapons, as you said, a gun game.
He loved it.
Orps, AK, CZs, you name it. And there you have it, 14-13. And the money was broken. The best they could ask for was overtime. But Jacob said no.
Yeah, he was not interested in allowing that to happen. And the fact is now, moving on from that, it means it's going to be Cash. And when you look at it on paper then, the first map obviously being Overpass and Cash, you assume, all right, this could go quite close in the first matchup, potentially a win. Yeah. And then you sort of think, right, Cash, this could be a much quicker affair. This could be a Renegades smashdown, really.
Yeah, I mean, in the prediction before the game started, I said, you know, a 13-16, a 12-16 on the first map. You know, Greyhound showing us the best they have to offer, potentially. And if the best is enough to take a map, who knows on Mirage? It could be a coin toss, obviously, this being a domestic, you know, derby. Both these teams coming from Australia. The issue is, though, it's not quite the same caveat as when it's, you know, Astralis versus, I don't know, North or another team that's from Denmark where they are from the same region, they practice in the same region, they're best friends, they talk all the time, you know, FPL, they play together. It's very different when you have one team playing and practicing from North America, another from Australia.
Yeah, that's the thing, because, I mean, obviously, these players aren't Australian. You've got 3 of them there that have all come from the land down under, but the fact is they don't really play against each other too much anymore because they've been distant from the region for quite some time. Obviously, since Renegades allowed them to move out there and everything sort of changed up, it's been a while since they were just plumbers.
How does it feel losing to Easy Skins on Dust 2 at LAN?
Is that a budget sponge joke?
Yeah, of course.
Banter.
5 players in towards the A side seams from Renegades. Grouping up here, they have the smoke towards Highway. Flashes to come in towards the site as well. But Greyhound, good read on this pistol. So they have 3 players here towards the A side.
Well, let's see how it's going to go, Snodoodle, if they can actually get something going for him. They burst their way out. Ustillo going to try and hit him with a height of the Glock burst as he finds the initial frag, but Gratisfaction fires back through. He's tagged down at just 13 HP, though, so he's not too healthy, but he's still finding kills as he punishes everyone. That's a triple collected for him, and it just comes down to JKS, but this is a 1 versus 2. They have no idea of his angle right now. They do have the bomb, however, and they're into a good position, but they are so low on health. They don't have too much to actually keep them in this. Their sustain is low.
13 HP for Gratisfaction. 28 from Malta. No Kevlar once again this time, but no longer going to be Wood in the Deagle. Has the defuse kit at hand. A mistake they've obviously gone back and changed. JKS now full HP. Back in towards A main, expecting push from Greyhound to seek out information as a 2-man unit, but instead, they are split up here. Oh, the tag as well. Both players now 1 bullet away from death.
Yeah, that is wild. The fact that he's barely held on to life there at 8 HP. 20 seconds. So JKS is a little bit pushed for time. He's got to try and tiptoe his way up ever so slightly. Gratisfaction somehow stays alive, but JKS, this could be another pistol round 1 just at the wire from this one man. He's trying to toy with him by opening the door. If he does push through, though, all it'll take is 1 shot to close it out. Now readjusts, decides to go for the bigger picture. Get the bomb, get spotted out on the cross, charges his way round, but the timing's awkward. He was lobbing out a grenade. Goes down as he punishes him.
2 versus 1 there from Greyhound, playing so scared and passive there. Spotting for information. Malta there, peeking towards A, peeking towards A main, peeking towards Highway, trying to see if they can spot out JKS. By the time they have, he's already peeked, died. I feel like in that situation, if you're Malta, you should play off contact from Gratisfaction towards door, which they tried to do. The problem was, though, Gratisfaction missed the first headshot. Malta missed the second headshot and allowed for JKS to find the frag towards quad. He knew exactly where Gratisfaction was. There you have it. Missed shots from Greyhound, created opportunity that JKS took with both hands. Round number 2 then. 1-0 for Renegades. As we see, maybe the beginning of the end of this tournament for Greyhound as they fall short in the first map. They showed us their best. 16-13, close matchup that Jacob managed to pull Renegades over the finish line with. I'm not sure if it's enough.
Yeah, especially the fact as well that now Renegades, off the back of that, they're into a good position. Obviously, it's that T-side start. You want to set the pace. You want to set the tempo. You want those AKs in your hand to be able to play a little bit more flamboyant, and that's the position they're going to be in now. You got the SMGs being donned by 3 players, MP7, 2 UMPs, and then the 2 AKs to slay on Ustilo and JKS nods. Dick Stacey actually just walks his way up, goes for a contact face and obliterates JKS there, slumps him with a deagle. So a good start at least.
5 versus 4. As you said, a strong start for Greyhound into this round, but we're still going to be favoring Renegades here. They have the firepower, the utility, and the Kevlar as well to back it up. Gratisfaction and Malta both saved in terms of their armor. Creeping up towards highway here. Here comes the final push.
Oh, this works fantastically as well. They're actually able to bait from behind, going for the fire from Zed there. Everyone turned around immediately. You have the crossfire on the 2 players playing by Electric Box, then close towards Forklift. They find those frags. That was really nicely done by Greyhound, but it's still going to have to be a retake on the A site. Going to be a little bit easier for him to get back into, but it's going to still be a struggle. You've got the AK in Gratisfaction. He has a HE. Dick Stacey only armed with his trusty deagle. But he's already laid out 1 player with a 50 caliber bullet of pain, so let's see if he can do it again. Azza just waiting hungry for these frags, finds the initial headshot. Gratisfaction's got to do it all on his lonesome now. Trapped on his Todd with an AK in his hands, but he's going to be quaking in his boots, Nods. No real potential to actually win this one unless they swing wide, and it all went wrong. But he had no kit, he had no real time, so it was just a consolation frag at the end there.
Oh, if he lands this jump.
This could be cheeky. Oh, this could be filth, actually, if Gratisfaction was a tad bit quicker. That would have been amazing.
Close, but no dingo. As we see, 2-0 now for Renegades. Both rounds being close. Only 1 player surviving from that last round, and that player being Azza. All drop over an AK to drop for a teammate. So we shall see. Khalil for JKS, 2 AKs for Azza and Nifty, 2 SMGs for Jacob and Nistillo. And the buy for Greyhound, not quite as affluent. There's going to be the Kevlar invested into behind the AK from Gratisfaction. Apart from that, P250 for Dexter. So nothing too elusive, nothing too strong here to go out for Greyhound. They have the 1 sole AK that's towards the B side from Gratisfaction, expecting a B hit from Renegades, maybe a B rush or a set B play. But instead, if they don't rotate that AK fast, it's all going to be for nothing. Frivolous in that save, as it won't actually amount to anything.
They're going to go for this contact face once again. Dick Stacey walks into the unknown, but this time around, they're going to bite back. JKS finds the kill with the Galil. Everyone else just sprints their way through Vent and actually tackles the men in front of them as well. As Mount will hit the deck. It's down to Dexter, Gratisfaction to hope to achieve anything. It's just 1 kill. A casualty on Nifty, a free upgrade to an AK there, though, for Jacobs. They're not going to be bothered in the slightest. Now we get into the actual rifle round as well. Here's where the real damage is going to come out. What have Greyhound got to show us on their CT side here, Cash?
Orb for Gratisfaction. M4 surround off the rest of the CT by 1 defused kit for Malta. Seems like Malta has been the support player here for Greyhound so far. Buying the kits and the pistols, playing, you know, sometimes with lesser firepower to afford more grenades, being the kit boy in certain situations as well. Enough of that. And into the actual bare bones of this round. The buys were good from both teams, but so far the frags are only good for Renegades.
Dexter has had to reposition there quite rapidly as well, so it's quite awkward because they've just got so much mid control. Just bursts from Renegades, they're just so confident.
Nifty JKS finding frags onto the B site. 5 versus 2 here, smoke in towards CT. Smoke as well towards Heaven. Gonna mean probably a save here from Greyhound going forward. As all 5 players from Renegades stay alive. M4s as well, retrieved from the dead bodies from Greyhound, which means, you know, fully efficient here. Don't waste money investing into AKs. They can save these M4 rifles into further rounds to come. And that's just going to add to the tally they have. You know, 4-round advantage now. The money's in their favor. They will get one consolation frag as Greyhound's Dexter gets the kill onto Jacob exiting towards T-Spawn. But apart from that, Azza here with the flashbang as well. Oh, works so perfectly, but comes out the wrong way.
Yeah, bust through the door, waving the 4-4, but not going to be able to find anyone as his teammates will do the damage instead. Nifty eliminates Dexter. Gratisfaction goes down, and that's Renegades with a 4th round now. So the first buy round where Greyhound actually were able to get out rifles didn't go anywhere near the manner they wanted it to. So this is just going to be tremendous for Renegades, really. This will be a great early start. This should be another 3 round achieved here, bringing it up to a 5-0. Greyhound are not in a great spot, Snods.
Eco now coming out from Greyhound as we used to be seeing on these sorts of scenarios where you win the pistol, you go 3-0 up, you win the first buy round, you're then 5-0 up. You know, if this was a best of one, we'd be saying, you know, great start for Renegades, they can close this map out off of this momentum, being 5-0 up on their T-side cash. But you could actually see this as a best of one. Greyhound, if they lose this round, or this map, sorry, they're going to be falling out of the tournament only onto the second day. As both these teams lost their opening matchups, now they are playing the eliminated best of 3s to try crawl their way through to the bracket play.
Yeah, that lower bracket slog to actually get themselves back to a good position. And it does mean only one Australian team can go through. So obviously, it's quite a fierce battle between the 2 sides from the nation. Urcast and Gratisfaction. Make that just Gratisfaction as Urcast gets slumped, and Ustillo as well will tackle Gratisfaction. That's another round for Renegades as we expected, giving them that 5th. The rebuy is now there on the horizon for Greyhound.
Wow, wow, wow. 5 rifles here for Renegades once again. So far, not going to be switching out the AWPs. This might mean they go for a higher octane style of CS. Obviously, when you have the AWP in your inventory, you can slow down the round, give your AWP time to work the map. Go towards Checkers, see if there's a peek there from an AWP, see if there's a play dropping in from Heaven to Checkers. Go in towards their main, clear out MBK, clear out quad, get boosted up, peek in towards Connector and Highway, and peer into those angles. But instead, you can see, without the AWP, they play higher, faster pace CS. You have JKS faking towards the B site, throwing all of his grenades at the start of the round. And now it comes back towards A, where the 4 players from Renegades are currently situated. We call this one the 4-1 style of CS, where one player fakes towards one half of the map and draws rotations away from the actual game plan, which is hitting the opposite side.
Gratisfaction just waiting till Renegades are going to throw themselves once more into the fray of the A-bomb site. That's where he needs to really punish. He's got to land some big shots and capitalize against them to take them down a notch as they get themselves ready. The utility's going to be lobbed out. Angles being blocked, vision being restricted, and the push comes through. Gratisfaction will connect that shot onto the first man, but Nifty, quite a nifty little boost there. Gets himself up on top of Fork, he's able to find the initial frag. JKS's head's going to get a haircut as Cast will detect him and take him down. It's just a 3-on-4 now, Snods, on the retake situation towards the A site. Greyhound, they're in a position to actually win this, but they've got to play it together. They've got to play it smart. Flashbang's keeping them at bay as well. They've got utility. Jacob pushes up close, and Urcast will suspect it, get the kill. Malta tackles Nifty, and it's all on Azza, the big man himself, to finish it off, but he is going to be sent off to the Burns ward, it seems, as Malta will ignite the spark of the resistance here from Greyhound.
Great retake here from Greyhound coming in towards that A site. They played it patiently, they had the AWP playing the angle towards the bomb wall, found the first frag, eventually got treaded out by Nifty, as you said, a 4 versus 4. But from that point, Greyhound with the boost to come with the flank in towards their main, catch JKS off guard, get the advantage that way. Well-placed grenades as well with flashbangs, Molotovs going into the positions to flush out the players from Renegades, to force and draw out the peaks into the places they were holding. 1-5 then as Greyhound begin a bit of a comeback here. Is it going to be a one and done, or can they try and build a foundation of rounds off of this one? Because, Jack, if they get reset, and it does go 6-1, and the round loss bonus goes back down to $1,400, this could be a very, very, very swift first map. If we do see an 8 or 7-1 advantage for Renegades, after closing out that map eventually on Overpass, Greyhound really needs to dig deep in.
Oh, headshot there for Azza. Finds that connection onto Urcast, but Gratisfaction actually fires back through, takes down Jacob. Nifty as well. Does damage also. Malta going to be able to lay out JKS. Dexter with a rapid shot. That was speedy. Renegades have only got a duo left. It's Nifty and Yastillo. But let's see if this dynamic squadron can actually achieve anything. Nifty with the AWP will be able to connect the first one. Send Dick Stacey off to the underworld and leave it just on Dexter and Mouter to try and clutch it out on the retake in a 2v2. Connection there from Nifty on Mouter as they go for the jump face around. That's also a big read. Dexter does his Bruce Willis impression as he pushes through the vent, but he gets slain in the end. Yastillo gets that shot off. In the meantime, Nifty had already found a frag as well. So Greyhound, you got 1 round. But the reset comes in, the money's going to be broken. That's now going to be probably a 7th round for free for Renegades. And from there onwards, it's just an awkward position to be in.
Yeah, really a debilitating round to lose, because not only do you lose that 1 extra to go down 6-1, but your money's worn down so low. $1,000 for Dick Stacey. They will be going for the save into this one, but this might even be a double save coming up for Greyhound. Obviously, into the next round, Dick Stacey will only have, you know, $2,900, $3,400 for Mouter. You know, these players can't buy. So it's going to go 7-1 unless they can win with the pistols. And then 8-1 as well if they do go for the double save. So Renegades, a team of this caliber, are they going to be letting up such a big advantage like they did on Overpass?
Figures as well, Renegades are now ready for this aggression we've seen from the B site on these rounds. Greyhound have pushed it pretty consistently now for around 4 rounds. So all you've got to do is just hold, wait for that push, kill the initial aggressor, and it already gives you that first early frag. Renegades, though, only have a trio left. So does Greyhound. It's a 3v3. Let's see where this push actually comes from. Yastillo was above a man there. Didn't realize that Dick Stacey was just below him on the lip of the vent. Tries to kill Gratisfaction, will get that frag, and now that's the A site conceded for free. They're allowed to just bombard their way up and try and lock it down. Unless Urcast can go wild, you would need to have a monstrous play with this Deagle. Misses the first contact shot, slumps Nifty though, as he obliterates him. I mean, that is beautiful stuff, but it's still too little too late. It's down at Dick Stacey to clutch it. He's got an AK. He just needs to rip him a new one. He's going to have to hit him with a Dick Stacey Rhino, but it isn't going to happen today. Is punished by Yastillo. Another round for Renegades as we expected, but still quite a close affair.
The real question is now, though, are they going to go for the Force? Ooh, for a second there, when I saw Urcast invest into Kevlar, I thought that might have been the beginning of a buy. But instead, it's just going to be the half buy here. The Quasi smokes onto Dexter, Dick Stacey, Urcast so far. Kevlar as well. Deagles and P250s and CZs. Nothing too elaborate as of yet. But we've seen the power of these pistols so far in this tournament. With no Kevlar behind 3 of them as well, you really have to be diminishing the value that these pistols really have. You know, if they get a frag and pick up an AK, as we've already seen the aim punch be a massive factor in this best of 3. 5 AKs here for Renegades. No AWP will be brought up by Nifty as he is here on our screens. And this is the reason why the AK is so dynamic versus the AWP. Doesn't have to stop and scope in. Up close as well, if you missed that first shot, you have the spray to fall back on, as now they charge in towards the side.
Yeah, just bombarding their way through, trying to overwhelm anyone that is hunkered down in position. And Greyhound, they've just been punished, really. Put to rest. And it's just Urcast and Dick Stacey that remain. Jacob as well connects a quick rapid shot there onto Dick Stacey. Urcast, he can hold for the exit frags, actually. If they want to, and they exit together back in towards T-Spawn, maybe he can get something. But instead, it looks like he might actually go try and set himself up to find a weapon once that bomb blanc goes off. See if he can grab a gun, if anyone's going to exit down close towards mid. Jacob's there, but he's on a heightened angle. And Jacob has been mauling everyone this game. And is it going to be happening again? Detects Urcast. It's like a game of hide and seek, and he's the victor.
7-round deficit now for Greyhound, as we see another buy come their way. Jacob doing his best JKS impression.
Yeah, going to be reminding him of what he did in the first map.
Yeah, redemption. AWP for Gratisfaction, M4s across the board. Strong, very strong utility now for Greyhound, but how are they going to use it? Are we going to be seeing the A-main take we saw from Sharks and many other teams here at this tournament, where you group behind the A-main smoke, you molly the back, you flash in, you take A-main control behind the smoke? Very, very effective at catching teams off guard. Instead, they are pushing in towards Squeaky Door. Actually, no, I think that's the boost. It's hard to see on the minimap. Well, Molotov's actually going to be used better and utilized in more efficient ways by Renegades themselves, as they will flush out the peak from Urcast before he goes 1-for-1. But, as we know, Jack, the one-for-one trades always favor the Ts. The reason being is it splits the CT defense in half. 2 towards A, 2 towards B, and we could be seeing a 1 versus 4, essentially, towards one of these sides from Renegades.
Gratifaction's actually being
God.
hunted as well. Justillo is his stalker right now. Takes that time to line up a graceful shot. 1 bullet, 1 kill is all he requires, but there is a response. Dexter, the heightened angle gave him the high ground, so he'll slay his old Padawan. Takes down Justillo, now falling back into a 3 versus 3 rather, as this push comes out towards the B site. The Ts are there banging on the door, ready to just accelerate their way in and secure the site. But can Greyhound resurge against this? Is a retake going to be on the cards? They burst their way in instantaneously. Dick Stacy with 1, but not the second. JKS as well, trying to get that bomb down now. A Molotov will be launched across, and Jacob had his vision firmly fixed up top there. Spots out the head of Dexter and will lop it off, meaning Renegades get a 9th round, and these have been very, very quick rounds.
9-1 then. Greyhound, I feel like that's one of the last attempts they really had in this half. I mean, not only because of the scoreline, but in terms of confidence as well. 8-run advantage for Renegades. Just 7 away from closing it out. And maybe 6 as well when you take a glance at the buy from Greyhound here. Just pistols, once again only a few players buying armor. But each and every time they get the first kill with pistols, be it with Deagles, be it with CZs, they always end up losing the round in towards the crunch time of it. But maybe the difference here was the 2 opening picks they have into this one. 5 versus 3 is Azza coming in towards Highway. Gets spotted out as well by Dexter, so that's great information found out by Greyhound. They know that Renegades are here towards middle. And with a good flashbang, or maybe some well-timed pushes, Urcast could get the drop on Azza.
Yeah, does just that. Removes him. He's going to be able to recover that weapon if he actually does want to try and scavenge the AK and bring it further into the later rounds. Right now, he just holds strong. It's only 2 players that remain. Renegades have Jacob and JKS Lee. J-Squad, but Dick Stacy will punish the first. Looks for more as he's feeling confident. He's up and ready, but he's not quite going to be able to land it, and the push comes through. JKS trying to use that as a bit of a shooting gallery there, but couldn't actually get the shots off. Snod a bit flustered by the fact there was too many in such close proximity. Expected the faces, was trying to prioritize the target, and instead goes down from above. Renegades, that streak comes to a halt for right now. Greyhound, though, they haven't been able to connect any rounds together. They've been blips, one-offs here and there. And hopefully that doesn't happen to them again, because their economy would instantly be reset. They'd be left in such a dire position once again. And at that point, that's when Renegades can just run away with basically the entire rest of this half.
You're not wrong there. If we do see a second reset now for Greyhound, the first reset resulted in 3 rounds gained by Renegades. And if the same happens in the second, you could be looking at a 12-3 half here as a bare minimum from Renegades. So we need to be seeing some consistency, continuity from the second round game by Greyhound, as with 1 minute 25 seconds left on the clock. Default from Renegades. Jacob holding for the mid push. JKS once again in towards Sunrim, holding for any extension from Greyhound if they do push aggressively towards B. 2 towards A main, ready for a counter A main control sort of play with flashbangs and Molotovs, as you see Justillo's here, counter flash. And then of course Azza in towards door, playing those lurk sort of positions.
Oh, nifty with the adjustment, but doesn't actually get the headshot. Trying to offer out a free haircut there, though. Let's see what they're actually going to get up to. Playing it slow and steady. Jacob on the cross. Got spotted out by Mauter. They're going to go for the boost up, but Urcast lying in wait for it. And he actually does have support as well. Mauter can launch out the Molotov. This will slow down the push, force Justillo to drop off, and that's a ton of damage as well.
Will delay the boost as well, with only 30 seconds left. Great frag found, great Molotov as well, positioned to slow down the pace from Renegades. As the boost comes out towards, well, aforementioned boost. Molly out towards the vent as well, which is exactly where we saw Mauter. As he actually drops in towards middle, doesn't drop in towards the B side of the map. That's going to be a mistake potentially. That could come back to haunt Greyhound. 4 versus 4 now as Renegades are bashing down the doors at B.
Yeah, Renegades are just sprinting in. They are hungry for this. Nifty with the AWP, the last man left standing, and he isn't standing for long, as now he is sleeping with the fishes. Eliminated by Dick Stacy. They've got a double AWP setup now on Greyhound as well. They scavenged one of them. They can drop that over. See what they're actually going to get up to with this. This is quite curious.
Wow. Cash is still here for Renegades, but not really for too much longer. 2,000 left for Azza and Jacob, but apart from that, Greyhound win this round, they're going to draw out an eco. Obviously, round number 13, they win it 4-9. Round number 14, you imagine Renegades save for the last round, so maybe 5-9, and they can try to play for a 9-6 scoreline, which would be far, far better than when we saw them 9-1 down. If they can try claw out even a 10-5, that's going to be much better than they expected, and they can be content with that. For now, though, minute 30 left on the clock. 3 players in towards the squeaky door, as they're going to try to burst their way in towards the site and swarm it, but we have Gratis factions up towards high, which could peek in towards squeaky. And we also have Dexter there on towards the A side, but also JKS trying to lurk in towards the mid play once the door push comes. No longer going to be a factor.
Yeah, he's going to be satisfied with that one. Oh, Yustillo as well with the upshot on towards Dexter. Flashbangs go over. They can get this bomb down now. Yustillo still just popping heads as he's keen for it. An absolute gamer as he finds that second frag. Now bringing it back into a 3 versus 4. Renegades, they've got sight control. They're in nice post-plant angles. They're in good positions. But Dick Stacey, he doesn't need vision. He's just feeling it as he fights his way through. The spray down comes in, though, to close that out at the end. And Renegades will get another round. That brings them up to 10 now, Snods. And going into round number 14, that is a 10-3 scoreline. This is Renegades on their T side as well, just setting the pace. And if you cast your mind back to what we saw with Greyhound versus Liquid as well, their T side was a bit stagnant. It was a bit struggling. I mean, their CT side is where they sort of found somewhat of momentum. They had more cohesion. They were trying to play their style of CS, but that T side, it wasn't the best.
Yeah, I believe it was like 11-4 half. They ended up losing 16-5, so they found 4 rounds in the CT half. But so far, not even able to muster up 4. Still stuck on the big round number of 3. They may be staying there for a while longer as they've lost the first player already. Still with the entry towards the A side. Dexter with a premature flashbang, you could argue, as Renegades just entered in towards A main before the flash even popped, so didn't really get too much value for money behind that one. So, mid-control now from Renegades. Smoke in towards Con, they can molly out sandbags, flash in towards the site, or the map itself. And a good reply here from Greyhound. They know they've lost their main control, they're losing mid-control now as well. Urkast going to be conceding mid-control, falls back behind the connector smoke, and this means Greyhound had to make a move to gain map control back. They flash into a main, and now with the information that Malta has gathered, they can stack a 3rd player towards the B side. So very, very good change of pace and reaction to what Renegades did.
Ooh, there's the kill from Malta as well into Yustillo as he gets that first elimination. Cash just playing from the site as the push comes round, trying to lay him the rest with a CZ. Luckily, Dick Stacey's there to support him as well, as Dick Stacey proves how wild he can go as he grows in size there, finding those free frames. down Greyhound, taking down Renegades rather, and getting Greyhound finally another round the board. I mean, that gives them a 4th. At this point, Snods, I mean, if they can somehow muster up a final round, get yourself a 5th round at the end of the half, get yourself some confidence, and come in strong with a big pistol, maybe there's something to play for.
Potentially, I mean, if it does go 10-5, we see Greyhound picking up the second half pistol on the T side. They can try get to that 10-8 scoreline, snowball the advantage they have to a 10-10 if they can win the first buy round, as we saw Renegades going 5-0 up in that exact scenario. But we shall see. Still a lot to play for, as right now they're 6 rounds behind. So to bring it back to a 10-10 means winning 6 in a row. But that's into the future. Right now into the present. They group up outside the B side. As of the entering hours, they can bombard their way in towards this B side, but it's Dick Stacey here to maybe try and dig Greyhound out of their grave.
Yeah, spamming down, but couldn't actually get the initial frag as he got one, but that was it. Gets punished back, and Nifty as well finds the rotate, the lurk player there on Dexter Urcast. From the elevated angle, though, not only high in terms of height, but high in skill as he finds a rapid hat trick. And it's just on Nifty to clutch it, but he has to be rapid on his feet. He's got to sprint his way over. There's not a chance in hell. That's the defuse. A 5th round for Greyhound. Brings it up with a 5-round deficit between these two teams. And this second half really is dependent on that pistol. This first pistol here on the second half can change so much.
Wow, from a 4 versus 2. Urcast with the elevated angle towards heaven lines up 3 individual peaks from Renegades, maybe over peak, well, definitely over peaking, getting overconfident as they walk into the crosshair, even onto low HP as well. So, great round from him as he grants the 5th for Greyhound. But it's 5 enough, Jack? I'm not sure. All really to play for the pistol. If they lose it, we see the exact same scenario as we saw on Overpass, a 13-5 potentially if the bomb isn't planted for Greyhound. And we saw how that one ended, where Greyhound showed us at their best. They still couldn't even get the finish line over.
More of a standardized burst here. Go for the flashbangs over, jump around the angle and sprint into the bomb site. Dick Stacey with the first elimination. That's Jacob as well, so that's a nice actually open kill. Now you can try and push through the site, but CT's just wide open. Nifty is just allowed to find all the frags in the world. That's already 3 frags with his pea shooter as his USP schooling him. And everyone's just hit the deck, Snods. There's only 2 players that remain on that T side. This could have been a pistol round for Greyhound, and already it rapidly swings back in favor of Renegades as Justillo as well. Rips down Urcash. Justillo for a quick fire shot as he smashes in Dexter's face. And that's going to be Renegades with 11, and the pistol that goes their way. I mean, the amount they can grow now from this is ridiculous. They're going to be in such a good position before Greyhound can really even afford to buy again. No bomb plant, no pistol round, only 5 rounds of a buffer. It's just not enough.
Premature push towards the B site there from Greyhound, peeking and pushing in towards the site before the smoke towards CT even landed. Maybe the heat to the moment, the pressure being a defining factor there in that scenario as they peaked far too early, but I guess it's a lesson learned for the next one. They've already adjusted a few things from the first map on Overpass into catch. But even then, the exact same scoreline, deja vu of the 11-5, losing the second half pistol. Bomb plant not happening, which means we are expecting to see a 13-5 scoreline if Renegades can win versus the Force. But so far on this map here, Dick Stacey, half his frags, feels like they've been from Deagle kills.
It really does. I mean, he's been a bit of a pistol king. He's been able to just take those fights and actually land major shots with it, but it's a shame it's not all comes together for the rest of the squadron. As of right now, though, it'll be an attack on the A site. Let's see if they can actually get in here, though, as Azza, he's lying in wait with the Famous, wants to go famous with this one as he bobs and weaves, takes down everyone who dares to defy him, eventually is killed by Urcast, but Nifty's there for the trade. That's now a 12th round for Renegades, only 1 casualty, and Azza's basically paid that off anyway. He had 3 frags with the Famous. Greyhound, they're not able to get the bomb down. They're never really given that extra oomph to give them a jump start.
Well, speaking of jump starts, a 7-round advantage is quite the start and the lead to have. Not only is it 7-round currently, you look at the buy now from Greyhound, most likely we see the 8-round lead, 13-5, you know, no Kevlar, no upgraded pistols as well, stuck onto 5 Glocks, no utility, no flashbangs for a burst play. The goal here for Greyhound is to get that bomb planted, but looking at the bare bones buy, it seems fairly minimal. We do see that outcome. But for now, though, Greyhound playing the slow round, expecting a push through the mid-smoke, or expecting some aggression here from Renegades to try and get cocky, confidence, and try and topple it. But instead, this is going to be JKS alone towards the A side. Has the MP9, so he's going to be able to farm up some strong cash. No, it's Azza, apologies. Even better. 30 bullets, and even more stronger bullets as well. High caliber.
Dexter's right behind JKS. He was somehow trailing behind him. This is how they must have known the B site was open as well. He's gone for the push round through B site. Dexter's got the read off that from his lurk. They can now quickly swing their way back in towards B and lock this down, but no, they can't. Jacob is just punishing them. 3 frags, it's over. The Jacob Nifty combo, these two have been playing phenomenally, and it just works out well for them. They crush them as soon as Greyhound come and start banging on the door, trying to hopefully get a cheeky round in edgeways, but no, not going to happen. Renegades will deny that potential. Here comes the buy, though, and for Greyhound, this might be one of the last buys we see from them in this entire tournament, unless they get it together quick smart.
Quick smart. Quick pace and smart plays. Can they try and carry that one out at least? Smoking towards connector. Going to see if they can take mid-control here, so a good adjustment in terms of changing out their default from playing the passive play. But the default, as it's spread out across the map, they fall down one by one. Well, they get 1 frag in return. Urkas with the frag onto Nifty and towards connector. Aggression now as Gratisfaction falls back for the ball. Oh, the 180 flick connects onto Yusilo. 3 versus 3.
It's turned on him hard. That was beautiful to see, but let's see where it goes from here. Mount are going to be able to slay Azza. Jacob peeking out from the truck, seeing if he can get footed by the competition. He's ready to rock and roll as he holds the angle. Mounter, 11 HP, falling back a little bit, deviating from the plan. JKS going to go for the flashbang out, take the face. Oh, barely misses the shot, but eventually on the reface will lay him to rest. And it's a 2v2. Jacob, will he find Dick Stacy? Dick Stacy completely unaware, focusing towards main. It all comes down to Gratisfaction. This is going to be hard to play from. You're trapped inside of door with an AWP watching the bomb in a 1 versus 2. You have the door open for you, though. You can try and get a spot, but they're going to close the door. Goes for the tag through, lands it on Jacob. JKS gets slain, taken down by the no-scope. The unzoom works out, and Jacob, I don't think he's got time for this. Oh,
just about makes it over. 14-5. Renegades get over the hump of that 13th. They don't allow for Greyhound to make it back slowly. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Back to 13-13. Instead, of course, who else would it be to send them to the 14th round again? As we saw an overpass, it was the ace from Jacob to get them over 14. And this time it's the 1 versus 1. 2 rounds away from going forward into the tournament with a swift 2-0. Going into play, I believe, 1 more best of 3 to make it into the quarterfinals, which would be great for them in terms of their success as of late, making it to 2 top 8 finishes at these big tournaments. But flashing towards their main, he still spots the bomb, and as you can see now, 3 players already here. Even Jacob's going to be joining the party towards middle, so 4 players close vicinity now towards the A side.
This round's pivotal, though, Snods. This means so much. Greyhound, what can they get from this? Can they actually get momentum? Is this going to be Renegades securing an overtime safety net at the absolute minimum and being 1 round away from 2-0ing the series and continuing on with their run here, knocking their brethren, Greyhound, out of the tournament and being the only Australian team that will remain here in the Dallas finals?
Does seem that way. Seems as if we won't be getting a passing of the torch over from Renegades to Greyhound as the Aussie Kings, but for now, let's see what Greyhound can do. So far, not too much, but a 1-for-1 trade's very good. Right now, the losing body's too fast here. Jacob, easy angle. Found Molotov out towards the pit as well, goes for the reface.
That's on the bomb as well.
The bomb, yeah. Actually covered right now.
Yeah, the bomb's completely ablaze. This is going to be so awkward for Greyhound, but Gratisfaction, he's trying to flick around like a lunatic as he needs to adjust his crosshairs. Him and Dexter spinning around in circles trying to find frags. Dexter eventually gets it together and owns 2 men there. Azza and Ustilo completely gone, just like that. Snap of his fingers. Gratisfaction looking for a little bit more. 8 seconds left on the clock. The Molotov goes in. The bomb's going to be planted, but Dexter sent off to the Burns ward. He's gone. Just his ashes remain on the bomb site and Gratisfaction. Is it all going to go up in flames for him? Or will he be able to stay alive and keep Greyhound in it for a little bit longer? Give him an extra edge, a 6th round, rather than having to play for overtime. Nifty He's a man with a plan, and he can be a lunatic in these sort of round snods. He's confident in clutches. He's cool like a cucumber. As he sleeps up, jumps on the bomb. He's just going to go for the defuse here. The Molotov goes in, but he's got no HP. Oh, the fireball there from Gratisfaction. You can tell he plays a mage.
14-6 then. Molotov just about sealing the deal. Nifty had 20 points of health extra. Would have been a defuse and a match point for Renegades. But instead, Greyhound bring it back. They reset the money for Renegades. They still have $6,000 for Nifty. But apart from that, everyone else from Renegades fairly poor, so they're not going to go for the buy. Just going to save this round, take it on the chin, and then go for full buy into round number 22. Which does mean we should be seeing a 7th from Greyhound, unless the Pistols can work their magic once again. For now, though, just Galils from many of the members from Greyhound. As Gratisfaction, remember, died after the bomb, which means no money saved for Greyhound. That's why we see these Galils here in play. Only utility onto one player, so the money is extremely low here for Greyhound. If Renegades can try and find 3-4 frags here and make this costly for Greyhound, going into the next buy round, they can still be in a open situation.
It's also the fact right now they're getting tags out. They're getting their feelers out as well. They're in good positions in terms of where Renegades have been able to spread themselves across the map. And if they did actually, for some reason, win this round, they'd win the next. I mean, they'll probably win the game off the back of it. But the fact is, damage is being done. Renegades are being tagged up. They're being fragged up. They've already lost one man, 2 players as well, taking a bit of a scratch. Nifty's more of a bigger gash across him as he's left on 19 HP. As the push goes up towards the bomb site, they're going to get that planted by default. Cass waiting for him to flood his way in and gift him with some kills as he bathes himself in glory there. 2 frags, the final one connected by Gratisfaction, who will snipe JKS out of the server. Greyhound get a 7th round.
14-7. Renegades still doubling the scoreline being put up by Greyhound so far. So we're not going to be adjusting our predictions as of yet. I said it was going to be a 16-6, but Greyhound have done 1 round better. But can they make it even more than just 1 round better from my prediction? Can they make it once again to a all-squared 14-14? It seems very unlikely. You know, as casters, we always beg these ambiguous rhetorical questions, but do we always believe them? Not always. So still going to be favouring Renegades here. Let's see if Greyhound can give us something to cheer about and get hyped about in terms of some strong plays. Orb from Gratisfaction in towards A main, clearing out the angle. So right now for Greyhound, the noise being heard as well as Azza finds one. 1-for-1 trade, 4-for-4, but a very, very well-timed smoke here. Going to be delaying the push from Greyhound. They can't pounce on that A site, even though they found the entry.
Yeah, weren't allowed to go for it. They were warned there. They heard the call of Azza as he started firing against them and tackling their teammates. It's a 3 versus 3 to decide if this is going to be a 15th round for Renegades. And it's tight. It's all to play for. Greyhound, where do they go from here? 3 players trapped in a line, a divot though. As Dexter flicks round, finds the headshot back on Azza and somehow takes him down, barely holding on to his life force there with 19 HP. That's all he had left. Here comes the push out towards the A site, but Nifty, he's looking to do something naughty as he finds these frag. Ferocity is displayed, the claws have come out, and he is not going to be slowing down. Finds the final man. Dexter is gone, removes him from the equation. There's a little cha-cha slide as well for style points. And that is going to be Renegades getting themselves a 15th round.
Left, right, good night with those op shots. 15-7, match point here for Renegades. 8 match points as well, which also means we need to see an 8-round hot streak for Greyhound to claw it back. Get it to 15-15 as they can no longer win this game in regulation. Have to force overtime, have to try and win it in OT. Which seems very, very unlikely, so. Orb for Gratisfaction once again. AKs for Urcast and Malta. UMP, CZ for the remaining players from Greyhound, so the buy is weak again. And so is the information they have gathered. Aggression coming in towards the B side, but Dexter actually expecting it here. Knows Renegades are going to be playing extremely confident, having such an advantage here. And they capitalize off of that misfortune. 4 versus 5. Can Greyhound finally transition this into a round win?
Yeah, the battle of the SMGs is going to favor Greyhound temporarily. JKS, though. He'll just adapt, survive and overcome as he waits it out. Hiding in sunroom, see if anyone is going to come back and once again try and testify and fight against him. Yustillo just hides on the A-bomb site waiting, getting the read. Hearing those audio cues, the push comes in, but it's a nice tag from Dick Stacy. He actually caught him off guard and was able to find that frag. Now you've got A-site control. You've got the lurking Dexter as well. Surely this is a save round for Renegades.
Has to be. 3 players have weapons. The round loss bonus is going to be $1,400, so Nifty can drop over a scout potentially to Jacob or Yustillo, a UMP even. So they can have weapons to throw over. Azure as well could come back and retrieve the AK from Dexter's corpse. That's going to be upgraded from the FAMAS. But I'm hearing types in the chat. So there might be a pause coming from Renegades if they want to try and, recompose themselves, work out a game strategy in terms of their buy, plus a tactic to try and get that 16th early.
Thing is, you've got those tactical pauses. You might as well use them. There's no reason not to at this point, right? Greyhound are going to start to find their form. If you can slow down that tempo, give yourself a chance to readjust, reassess the situation and go from there. And also because their economy isn't going to be at a peak right now. It's at quite a low point. Take this round as a time to talk it out, hash it out, work out what you want to do once your economy is going to be stable once again. But it doesn't seem like a pause has actually been called tonight.
Wow. Just going to go straight into the next one. And they are going to go force around the 3 saved weapons. CZ for Yustillo, MP9 for Jacob, and obviously the 3 weapons that were saved by the CTs. For Greyhound, they have good money, but it doesn't really mean anything at this point. They lose 1 round, it's all over. So they are going to continuously have a full buy for the remaining portion of this match, however long it will go on for. But boosted from JKS. Mountain may be holding for it. But actually JKS playing a passive, so what they might be doing here is waiting for either grenades to be thrown towards connector so JKS can peek with the good timing. They could also be holding for Greyhound to go for an A or B set play so JKS can come in for the flank. As even the frags being found here, 2 now so far for Greyhound. The peek from JKS hasn't been used.
Oh, but here he goes. He was waiting for the correct timing, almost.
Oh, that could have been 3.
Yeah, that could have been a triple. One after the other, he could have taken them down, but punished. Gratisfaction, 2 major kills with that AWP. Looking for more. Urkash, though, annihilates Jacob. In that one, it's just the superior firepower that wins him the round, really. And he's still all he's got left is a CZ. He's in a 1 versus 4. Tries to push round. Caught out by Dick Stacy, but does kill him. Grab that M4 as well, potentially. I mean, no one is close by him. It's a bit of an interesting one at this point. I mean, Greyhound should win the round here. There's no real chance, as Yustillo doesn't have a kit. He's only got 28 HP, but if you can save the weapon, at least it's something. It's an extra bit of a firepower. And they can carry through into that next round because their economy isn't in a great spot.
Yeah, just an M4 to save here. Flashbang as well of the CZ, so could drop over the CZ to a player. Flash some pistols in towards a main, try and get a main control, try and get a frag, pick up an AK, try and convert that into the 16th. Apart from that, just going to be saving and hoping that Renegades can try and get lucky behind Yustillo's M4. As it goes 9 now for Greyhound, and this 8-round deficit they were once in now dwindles to 6. But good play so far. Problem is, though, once again, this time they were 15-7 down or 15-6 down. Before they were 13-5 down once they actually found some form. Twice now, it's just been too late once we actually see Greyhound, find some confidence and some, footing in this matchup. Needed to see this earlier. But let's see. Eco here for the remaining players from Renegades. They can go for some pistols here potentially, but they are only on a 2,400 round loss bonus once they lose this one. So Nifty can afford the AWP. Everyone else can buy as well. JKS actually having $3,800. Can afford a secondary AWP if Renegades want to bring that out. And the double AWP setup can be very strong as well. Think about how Greyhound have been playing. Peeking towards B, peeking towards A, peeking over boost as well. Those AWPs are so strong. Almost kryptonite versus those contact plays.
Dexter with the adjustment. That was quite quick there. Smart stuff. Finds that frag onto Yustillo. Will be able to kill him off. Trying to make Renegades go extinct here. And Greyhound now. If they win this is going to be a 10-15. Then they're 5 rounds away. That seems a little bit more achievable than the position they were really originally in. It's going to be a hard-fought fight, as even now they're still taking damage, but Gratisfaction with the AWP is able to hold them off, keep them at the distance of a barge pole, but Nifty killed once again. Gratisfaction carrying on to just rip them a new one as he rails through them with this big green gun. And it's just Azza and JKS that remain. The bomb's planted. Greyhound have 4 players. This should be a 10th round for them.
As soon as Justillo dropped out the server there, so did the chance of Renegades actually winning that round. The only firepower they had taken up by Dexter. The very nice shot, as you said. The adjustment there on the flick towards the back of MA and over the smoke. Does mean Greyhound get to 10 now, so they go away from the M4, go back towards the B site where there's only USPs with no Kevlar holding. Easily able to walk in, get the bomb planted. Now they're going to be seeing themselves get to that 10th round. So double digits on both maps. Already better than I anticipated, which is good. But unfortunately, it's not quite as close as Overpass did allude to. Because now we see them still fight back against a massive lead. But this time, Jack, there's no chance of winning it in regulation. They have to force OT. Renegades still have 5 chances to finish it off, though, as they are going to see the AWP onto Nifty already on 27 frags. The M4s for the remaining players. So yeah, it is. The double op set up from Renegades. So good plan here. JKS can AWP towards B. Nifty can AWP towards the A side. They can play 3 rifles towards middle. And this is now a big test for Greyhound. If they carry on the game style they had before by peeking angles and winning duels with headshots from their AKs, that game plan might stop working versus all these AWPs.
Nice action, yeah. Getting the tag off there as they try and find these early kills. So, such an important round, this one. Because obviously Renegades, they have cash. This time around, they actually have weapons out. And Renegades with a strong arsenal does not bode well for Greyhounds, as they need to just have a flawless game. It's got to be a display of real strength. Let's see where it goes from here, though. As grouped up outside of the B site. Justillo getting closer towards Garbage as he just hunkers down and lies in wait. Mouter waiting over by main. Dick Stacey close to the door. They're keeping it slow. They're keeping it steady, Snods. They don't want to rush into the unknown and really leave themselves in a dire spot.
Still a 5 versus 5. Passive players from both teams that know what's at stake. Smoke out towards Highway, Molotov towards Forklift, as the spots one towards Squeaky, but actually, it's all a ruse. The real game plan from Greyhound going on towards the B site. JKS with a very audacious second flick there. Maybe overconfident. It does make it a 4 versus 4.
Gratisfaction could be caught with his pants around his ankles, was adjusting, so he can use his AWP, but he finds the drive-by headshot. Takes down Asa. Justillo, though, slays 2 of them. As he tackles him with the M4, it's only Mouter that remains, and he's going to be punished. Justillo with a free K as he starts to slay, and that is it. Done and dusted. Greyhound, it looked like maybe they were starting to find their footing. They got a little bit of a louder bark again, but they have been silenced. The dogs have been let out. They've all run away, and they will not be carrying on with their tournament run. But instead, that is going to be Renegades moving on. They were able to achieve it. That's a 2-0 win for them, and a good performance from the entire squad, but I think it's got to be said, Jacob just was wild the entire time.
Yeah, we have some highlights as well to peer over, and a lot of those are going to be including Jacob. In terms of firepower and frags, you know, it was Nifty stealing the show. 27 kills for himself here after the 26 rounds were played out, so equal basically to 1 frag a round, and that 1 impact frag could be the difference maker here. Urkas with a crazy 3K. At this point, you know, we thought, okay, this could be the saving grace for Greyhound. They can make it 10-5 at the half, win the second half pistol, but there he is again, Nifty.
Yeah.
With the 3K towards CT lower. Premature push from Greyhound before the CT smoke even bloomed, and that round should have gone in favor of Greyhound. Nifty should have never been able to find those frags if Greyhound just played more passive, and once again, it begs the question, what happened if Greyhound didn't throw away that second half pistol?
There's so many rounds that seem to be Greyhound set themselves up to win, but there's a slight communication breakdown. They get overconfident, they get a bit flustered. It seems like in the heat of the moment, it's all a bit too much. And you can see, obviously, that's something that will adapt with time and something they'll improve on, but it's a slight issue, and it's cost them a couple of key rounds in this matchup, and obviously what we saw in Overpass as well, that allowed it to swing in favor of Renegades over time.
Close rounds, but inevitably the favorites go through. 2-0. 16-13 on Overpass, 16-10 on Cash, and that final map as well should have been a lot quicker. It was a 15-5 scoreline. So Greyhound, once again, they start firing off on all cylinders far too late into the matchup. You know, 13-5 down, 16-5 down. We need to see them, you know, fight tooth and nail throughout the start.
Yeah, they got to come in strong at an earlier standpoint. And the thing is, it seems like they have confidence there. A lot of the players were able to just go wild at times. Dick Stacey was flamboyant with his deagle. He knew what he was up to. I mean, Gratisfaction as well definitely stepped up to the mark a few times there and was able to lay a few people out. But it was too thin and far between.
You know, Gratisfaction, he has these crazy rounds. You know, the thing with Nifty is he has the monstrous flicks, the monstrous rounds where he has his crazy 4Ks, but he still delivers a frag around, it seems, 25 kills every map, 20 frags minimum. Whereas Gratisfaction is more like a 15 frags, but he has that one round where he gets 2 crazy flicks, and they're the ones you remember. So in terms of impact, you know, yes, he has crazy rounds, but Nifty's the real star of the show.
Yeah, he had barrels of impact frags tied to him, as you said, basically averaging a frag around there the entire game, which is, it's a good stat to have. That's consistency for you, and that's what you need to make a good cake. So obviously works out well for him. But that is going to be that series done and dusted. It's wrapped up, meaning Renegades take the win. They were able to overpower opponents there in Greyhound. Didn't really work out well for them, obviously. Ends the run for the other Australian team in the tournament and means Renegades is going to be the only Australian team that move on from this point. But by no means are we done for the day. Still 2 more best of 3s to come. They'll be coming up next after this break.
Nifty again on the site. Let's see some more magic, my friend, with that orb. Chris J goes down. Oh, Nifty! And Nifty is coming up absolutely insane right now for the Renegades.
The 1v3 needed from the god himself, Nico, known for brilliance. And he needs to call upon it right here, right now. Device cowers in the corner. The shot goes off. Oh, he's got it! And now the 1v1. Dupree closing in. He's got the rifle as well, but Nico, you know what he can do. And he looks, he waits. Dupree edges forward, and Nico's a god in these situations, and he's just shown you as to why.
Gonna retrieve the AWP as he makes his way to Nana. Two members here. He finds one. Sicko just going to be trying to buy time right now, just dancing around the broken wall. Rush is watching the line. Beautiful flick coming out from Rush. They're sticking the defuse right now, but no one's covering him. They can't get the kill. Rush, you can't be doing this. You're absolutely insane. Now down to a one-on-one. Imagine's just going to tap it once, and Rush, he's just going to let it reset before he peeks in. Imagine has to stick it. Rush, he's going to peek in. He's going to get the 1-on-4.
Guaranteed round at this point, unless Sir can go absolutely huge as he holds towards the vent.
Yeah, Cirque, everyone talks about him. Here we go. Oh, what is that shot?
Oh, God, no.
3, surely, there's no way.
Straight into B is Azakev.
Yeah, he's on the entry, but Bentet's actually here with the AK-47. That's actually the bomb and the AWP loss. He's still going in. That's a beautiful flashbang coming. Oh my goodness,
God.
Bentet, you can't do that. That is disgusting.